Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR Legacy Division. We are here tonight for round number 3 of the championship. As you can tell, it's dry right now for the custom weather race here in Bahrain. My name is James Head. Jota alongside me in the commentary box. Oxtez, is the first man out on track right now. He's on the run down in towards the right-hander. Turns 14 and 15. Leonardo there going quickest with the 128.6. So good lap time there from the ET8 man. As Oxtez now is on the run to the line. Does he defeat Leonardo? No, 28.93 top. But Leonardo on top, and there is Smokey smoking the field on his return. Jota, how you doing?
Yes, not too bad, thank you. Eventually, when I do manage to get my Xbox working, you may be wondering why I'm not leading. Well, if you are, well, the reason why is I've had some major issues, would you believe, getting here in the first place, and now I'm having issues getting into the lobby. So, I'm just going to sit around and just do nothing, I think, for the next sort of 18 minutes. So good luck to yourself on that one, James. I'm not too bad, though. We're in for a blinder, though. Bahrain always brings something fun, doesn't it?
We are indeed, yeah. Custom weather as well. The drivers have been told about custom weather in qualifying. It is going to be overcast. You might not tell it because it is midnight conditions here, of course, in Bahrain. But it is overcast conditions for Q1, very wet Q2, and then dynamic Q3, which is going to be really interesting indeed. And that is going to play a big determination, of course, on what we've got to follow in terms of the standings, in terms of everyone in behind. Liam Bowman out on top, though. PSL Smokey in second. Novus racing to the top end of the field. You were shocked, I think, as much as I was, with Declan Barrett's return to Novus Racing and indeed to WOR Legacy Division this season.
Yeah, no, absolutely massive, isn't it? Massive news, that one for Novus, actually, because I think they are obviously in massive competition with other Xbox teams around, one of them being, of course, TTM as well, and they're obviously going to be, keeping an eye out on the competition around them, and I think it's such a critical move for Declan to take a spot in Novus, actually, because that is now setting a precedent that Novus aren't just looking to be the best on Xbox, are they looking to be the best in world, I wonder?
Are they looking to be the best on console? I think that's what they could be aiming for. They've got very, very good drivers, of course, here tonight. Liam Bowman out on top, Smokey there in second, of course. Mr. Declan Barrett himself, former WOR console Tier 1 champion back in Season 14, if I'm not mistaken, there in second. Cameron Dowds there, the young pretender, there in third. To think this kid is 14 and he's currently third in a WOR Legacy Division qualifying session is absolutely beyond belief, but it comes to show how he is good in terms of his pace. It's Liam Bowman though out on top. Hopefully everyone is enjoying the stream so far, by the way. 12 minutes to go in this session in Q1. Liam Bowman, Smokey, and Cameron Dowds currently the top three. Baz there in the chat saying, well, EPL is back for another one. Damage for Mateo. Damage for Mateo indeed, because he had a collision with Rara. Wasn't caught on stream. Caught it just while we were getting ready. Mateo hitting the back of Rara, unfortunately. 5-second penalty for Mateo. That means, inevitably, luckily for him, there's a mandatory restart, but unluckily for Mateo, if there's no illegal blocking, he's starting right at the back of the field.
Yeah, and that's the critical thing, isn't it? If there's maybe not so critical early on in this sort of early part of world, but every penalty does count, and it ends up losing out on good chunks of points that I think are really, really well earned in this kind of league, because of course every point takes you towards what is effectively a big chunk of the prize pool. And of course, remember, this championship went all the way down to the final race of the season, so it's important that you don't get those penalties, because if you end up starting further back, you're missing out on points potentially in the race.
Yeah, definitely so, and especially with how topsy-turvy this weather is going to be here tonight as well. It is going to be really interesting. Rayen is up the hill, in towards the right-hander now, turn number 4, PSGL, PSF4 man, of course, in Season 34, taking up a role, of course, within EPL, and at 28.8 in the first sector is not looking too bad at all for the French Algerian driver, now in toward the right-hander of turn number 8. I will try and get you another invite in due course. Liam Bowman, though, out on top from Smokey in second. Cameron Dowds there in third. 10.5 minutes to go in the session. Already seen retirements out on track. Liam Bowman retiring. CPI Wiener retiring. Of course, former OP man there in fourth. Good qualifying session from him so far. Aurelian there retiring. Dirk there retiring as well. 28.5, 28.5 for Dirk and Aurelian respectfully. Oh, as Rava has a huge snap of oversteer coming out of turn 11. In the wall he goes. Unfortunate for him catching the car, and that is because it is already raining out on track in Bahrain. The rain is quite literally in Bahrain.
The rain is falling in the desert, and that is, and lo and behold, the situation that the drivers are now going to have to start to handle with. Of course, with this custom weather format, they knew that this was going to be inevitable, and now they're going to have to try and adapt at a circuit where usually you don't have to. I wonder what the sort of midfield teams are going to battle. How are they going to feel about this one? Have they been able to stretch their legs and get themselves ready for what will be, I'm sure, in a very intense competition now the rain is falling in the middle of the desert?
And it's a shocker for ET8 because Matteo, they're down in 19th position. Leonardo in 16th. Both of them at this moment in time are out of qualifying. The championship leaders coming into tonight are out of qualifying as it stands. The rain is not really impacting on the track surface. Matteo has got to hope this rain does not fall any heavier for him to get a lap in. He's on the run now down in towards turn number 1. Leonardo is coming up the hill in towards turn number 4 right now, and we'll see what his first sector is in terms of the split. 28.8, remember, what we're riding ball with Rara, and at 29.6, Leonardo is not improving through that first sector. ETA may as well jump up short, maybe pack up for the day, because they are not getting through here in Q1. And it looks like pretty much everyone in the top 15 is pretty much safe, as Matteo was 1.2 seconds down in that first sector. So I can confirm already, Leonardo out, Igor Jelen out, Oxtears out, Matteo out, and Rara out, and we're not even halfway through the session.
Yeah, no, the rain's falling too hard now. It's absolutely no way anyone's going to be able to improve in this one. I think that is the shocker, isn't it? The championship leaders are going to be out of qualifying, and this isn't not a track that it's not a track that you can't overtake at. This isn't Monaco, but it's not the ideal position for either Leo or Matteo to be in here, as they're going to have to really just navigate the circuit very gingerly and get themselves through. But what it is, though, is a real opportunity for the likes of EPL and so on, of course, who you may have considered to be, drivers that would not be out on this occasion. But as you can see there, Belbelby up in 9th place, so opportunity knocks for them for sure. But of course, it is always about Liam Bowman at the top right now.
Yeah, the Elite Group 1 champion and the FIF Series 1 champion, Belby there, down in P9 right now. Good session from him, actually out-qualifying a Rallion, which is not too bad early on in Q1. What we will do, though, while we've got everyone retiring in the pit lane, because we are running this stream quite literally in reverse, we're going to show you the championship standings coming into tonight. ETA are out on top on 104. Team Shazoo in second on 98, with F7R in third on 80, Novus Racing fourth on 77, and then a big jump down to TTM in fifth on 31. Outplayed Racing, no longer part of the Legacy Division, of course, there in sixth on 29. L-Plan Racing Team in seventh on 17, that's EPL. Team TF10 on 8th on 12. CPI in ninth, along with Bunga Racing Team also on 10. I think CPI outscoring Bunga last week as well. They're in ninth in the standings. And NLR, luckily we do fit a graphic on, unlike the top 10 from last season. NLR in 11th on 2 points. They, I'm sure, are going to be definitely getting more points here tonight. But Jota coming into tonight, ETA out on top. Team Shazoo alongside them, 6 points separating coming into tonight. ETA already out of qualifying in Q1, gonna be an uphill task for them already.
Yeah, no, it's a massive sort of opportunity now for Shazoo, isn't it? With the opportunity to develop the team now, develop the sort of race now, develop the qualifying, and get that opportunity to take some good points out of ET8 tonight. I'm not going to discredit the likes of Leo and especially Matteo as well from making some big inroads from 19th and 16th respectively, but they've got to try and sort of put some damage limitation on again. The last thing that they really needed if they want to try and remain the top, at the top of the standings. But once again, got to keep an eye out on F7R, because once the team that are defending champions going into this tournament are off the pace themselves as well. Aurelian in 10th, and of course Stefano down in 14th. So this is gonna be one to watch for sure, because I think F7R may begin to struggle once again unless they can get a good sort of, I don't know, Q2 and really start developing. I wonder. It's going to be interesting to see, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think F7R, certainly they're in third. I can't believe they've got 80 points out of the season, I'll be honest. So they're in third.
Yeah.
Novus in fourth, 3 points behind them. They've been very inconsistent for a team that is third and currently 24 points off the championship leaders in ET8. F7R have not been up against it. They've got Aurelian and Stefano here tonight. Stefano, of course, a WOR console tier 1 driver. Aurelian, of course, an F1 Esports Challengers man. If you're wondering what's going on on track, by the way, that is the scene right now. It is absolutely what we like to call pissing down of rain here in the north of England. Liam Bowman out on top from BSR Smokey in second. Cameron Dowds there in third. Literally just waiting on Rara to retire the session 4.5 minutes ago in qualifying. I'm actually surprised drivers have retired, because they expect that the rain is going to stop. It's not. It's going to be full wet conditions for Q2, which means everyone, in terms of the session, is going to be obviously saving up that set of soft compound tyres, but they don't know what's going to come within the race either, and neither do we right now.
Yeah, no, we have no clue either, so we can't even give any snippets of what's potentially up for grabs here. We are just about 4.5 minutes away from the next part of qualifying, but at the moment, Rara, that's the EPL driver, has just elected to chill in the pits and do nothing. So we are actually, waiting on him to decide, does he want to have another go or retire? And then, of course, we might be able to skip to Q2 actually a bit quicker in that one. But nonetheless, I think the team that we've got to really keep an eye out on at the moment is, of course, towards the front. It's Novus, isn't it? I mean, it's nice to see Smokey back. There we go, Rara retiring the session. It is all about Liam Bowman and Smokey at the moment, the only drivers into the 127s.
Yeah, the only drivers into the 127s indeed. Possibly the fastest qualifying I think we'll see all night, to be honest. Liam Bowman out on top from PSL Smokey there in second. 700ths of a second. Novus Racing currently outsmoking quite literally everyone in the field right now. Cameron Dowd's there in third. CPI Wiener there in fourth. Did get an improvement in, I think, if I'm not mistaken. TF10 Sudi there in fifth. Lou there in sixth. Tom in seventh. Stefano there in eighth. Belby there in ninth. And Aurelian rounding off the top 10. Then you've got a whole cluster of cars. Stonks, Zozo, Dirt and Stefano and Jaeger, who were all covered by 300ths of a second from 11th to 15th. The gap was at a 10th of a second for Leonardo to 16th. Then Igor Jelen and the rest who have got out-qualified, of course, are Matteo alongside them. But we get in towards Q2 right now. And if you thought that the rain was not going to be stopping anytime soon, let me tell you it's not, because it is full wet conditions out on track. The drivers are probably thinking, my God, I want to get in this commentary box right now.
Yeah, they need to keep themselves covered from the wetness out there at the moment. It is absolutely pouring it down out there. But this is the kind of opportunities that the midfield teams are preparing themselves for, because of course if those at the front, or considered to be front runners, haven't really prepared themselves for these kind of challenges, then maybe, just maybe, someone in the background has decided, you know what, let's take the opportunity to do some wet practice, and TF10 immediately setting the precedent, sending out 2D immediately as he now leaves the pit lane on a fresh set of wets.
He is indeed on the run down in towards right-hand return, number one coming out of the pit lane. Absi has just realised that it's wet Bahrain. Did you not see the calendar before coming into tonight? Legacy Division calendar. It is custom weather for tonight. And Mr. Luke Humphreys has dreamt up this big scenario of having a wet qualifying in Q2. But I may add, this is not the first time I've actually seen full wet conditions around here. I had to drive full wet conditions in my league race, believe it or not, around here once upon a time. Trust me, not fun at all. That's why I'm in the commentary box more than anyone else. And I also did wet Qatar on this game as well, which was very, very fun indeed. But Sudi there, the first man out on track. He is, of course, looking to try and provide a good result for TF10. Of course, a current WOR Console Tier 2 driver and a former VSR man in Season 2. He'll be hoping that he can show from that VSR time that he had some form coming into tonight here in Bahrain, because he has had good results around here in the past.
You mentioned it about the wet conditions out here as well, to be fair. I think I remember doing a commentary gig where it was just dynamic weather and it started raining in Bahrain. I'm trying to remember what league it might have been. Might have been Synergy. If not Synergy, it could have been TSRL. Oh, actually, might be even the CIR. I can't remember, actually. But it was a while ago. So, yeah, it is very rare that this happens, but I can safely assure to you that this is 100% been set up by the league organisers to really pose a challenge to the teams out there at the moment in the pouring wet rain around the deserts of Bahrain. So it's going to be fun to watch, to say the least. I'm just keeping an eye actually on what's happening around the field as well, as it looks like one of the drivers actually just wanting to get on with it at the moment actually is, I believe, TTM Stonks actually, isn't it? He just wants to get on with it, and he's on a set of inters.
He is on a set of inters, and we'll ride and ball with him on the run down in towards turn and one. We'll turn the telemetry off on the middle of your screen, and let's ride and ball then with Stonks, hoping to set a stonky lap on the run down in towards turn number one here in Bahrain. Yes, I had to get that one in, as it comes now down into the braking zone at turn number one. Normally take quite a lot of oversteer coming out through turn number one. In these conditions, I don't think that'll be the case. Coming through now the right-hander of turn number three on the run up the hill and towards turn number four. Normally we see first sectors around here around about the 27s, 28s, more like going to be 31s, 32s through the first sector here in Bahrain, where the rain is quite literally in the needle, in the brain, quite literally tonight. 35.5, 33.5 even through the first sector from Stongs. So definitely going about my pace, to be honest, around here in the dry, I've got to be honest, coming through the right-hander of turn number 8, and then into the double left now of turns 9, and indeed the left-hander of turn number 10. Harvey trying to get the Where's Yarnell there in the chat. I'm not falling for that one. Stonks in toward the left-hander of turn number 10, and now on the old GP2 pit straight, where they actually do, because there's so many layouts around here in Bahrain, they actually start some races. The Porsche Super Cup, I know, was started from this straight in the past around here as well. Now coming into the left-hander of turn number 11, and my goodness me, the frame drops is absolutely, the rain just dropping down the screen, definitely affecting my CPU right now. Coming through the middle sector, 19.7 in that middle sector, looking not too bad actually. Stonks right off ball with them now and towards the right-handers of turns 14 and indeed turn 15, and Stonks currently setting a good lap time at this stage, given these conditions, setting a good lap time as it stands. Coming through the final corner at turns 14 and indeed the right-hander now of turn 15. I've just realised, by the way, I've got the wrong overlay on. Stonks now on the run to the line, 45.3 to start off the night. Joss is going to take you through the rest of the qualifying while I get this overlay done.
Oh, fingers crossed we can get that one rectified. I'm just keeping an eye out on Shazoo Tom, though, because he actually set a 32.8 in the first sector. So the wet tyres, clearly the tyres to be on at the moment. I think people just chancing it potentially for an intermediate stint, see if they can get any faster. But as you can see there, the wet tyres coming in thick and fast, over 2 seconds faster was Tom on TTM Stonks. Of course, the Mercedes outfit looking very sharp indeed for Team Shazoo, the PlayStation outfit. TF10 Dirk looking to set a lap time himself. He goes 4th fastest, 43.6. For him, but fastest of all, and no surprises on the cards for Team Novus. Liam Bowman leading the way with 142.721. We've also got laps coming in Jaeger as well, looking fairly sharp, as well as his teammate for BRT, Lou, going 5th fastest with a 143.2. And we're keeping an eye out as well on other people on laps as well. Bell be looking to try and set a lap as well for EPL, but it's first going to be about the Cedar Phoenix Igniters, who goes fastest of anyone so far with a 142.464. Good lap time indeed for the CPI team, as we just keep an eye out on the last remaining EPL driver, the L Plan Racing team, hoping to have a good plan. Not a good plan going off of the circuit though, and ends up invalidating his lap time. Would have come across the line, I think, relatively slow, unfortunately for him though, with a 43.7, which would have put him 9th fastest.
Yeah, 9th fastest it would have been indeed for Bell Belby. He's got a list next lap invalidation as a result of that as well. So clearly through the final corner, pick that one up. Stefano and Aurelian are on out laps right now. Could see drivers going for multiple runs. Wiener's definitely going for multiple runs. He's 1600s down in the first sector. We'll see what Liam Bowman is doing in this middle sector as well. Trudging his way into the left-hander now of turn number 11. I don't think he's actually on a lap coming through this part of the circuit. Might be wrong. Might just be because they're going so slow out on track. We're normally used to seeing them go 170 mile an hour coming through here. Liam Bowen, yeah, he is down. 3.4 seconds through that middle sector. Same with Cameron Dowds. He looks like he's going to go for another run. But CPI Wiener out on top. Wiener, of course, very shrewd signing, I've got to be honest, by CPI. I know there was a bit of controversy with Andretti getting kicked out of the team on social media. But then again, Wiener, a very, very shrewd signing. The outplayed Racing Man's a 10th up in the middle sector, so he's looking very, very good indeed. Liam Bowman, Cameron Dowds there, 2nd and 3rd. I've got to be honest, CPI have really cooked, I think, with this signing, and Wiener's definitely proving that.
Yeah, he's definitely proving it as well. I'm just keeping an eye on Aurelian at the moment, the F7R driver, who was actually matching only Tom in the first sector. So, again, not showing, the pace that perhaps we saw from F7R, last season, as Wiener goes even faster for CPI, 142.313. Aurelian really struggling. Second sector also not looking very sharp, actually, as he then heads through the right-hander. Aurelian's going to be setting a 117.8 in the second sector, so it is actually a little bit on the quicker side potentially than versus Tom by the looks of things, but it is, I don't think, going to be as rapid as maybe we'd expect, and this is where I kick myself now when apparently he goes fastest, I bet you now. Here he comes then through the right-hander, Aurelian. F7R looking to try and prove yellow flags in the third sector. I believe that's for a slowing Ferrari, one of the NLR teams, I think, as he then heads across the line, and 3rd fastest, so not too bad actually from Aurelian. Looks like an improvement in the 3rd sector, but beaten by Liam Bowman by 1,000th of a second.
1,000th of a second indeed. Stefano is now on the run toward the line as well. He's in toward the right-hander. It turns 14 and 15 and validated coming through that part of the track. The F7R man on the run to the line. Former FVR man back in the day as well, Stefano, 143.2. That would have put him in 9th position ahead of Jaeger. And Jaeger, I think, is definitely needing maybe some of the alcoholic substance with how he is going out on track right now. They're in 9th position, 43.3 out on track. Brian Emer's there in the chat, Mr. CPI, formerly CPI Fleddy himself, Mr. League of Europe Division 1 podium sitter as well on Saturday. Well done to you. You were in the chat. CPI winner though out on top, Liam Bowman second, Aurelian there in third. Jess there in the chat as well. Rain in Bahrain, spicy, and I totally agree. Can we not have this in PSGL going forward?
Yeah, potentially. I'm hoping that. Anyway, I'm not going to be speaking on behalf of PSGL, but let's be candid. We'd love to see it. Stefano, by the way, drifting his way around turn 10, by the way. He's absolutely... it's a nice way to go around it. Cameron Dowd's going fastest, 142.1, by the way. Incredibly... let's be honest, not the fastest way around the circuit here for Stefano. That's the NLR Stefano rather than F7R. But absolutely... a lovely way to go around it, I suppose. Sector 2, not too bad, I suppose, actually. They're looking relatively okay, the NLR driver, possibly looking for something like 4th fastest, I reckon, maybe 5th in the 42.9s. 42.7 to 42.9, I'm going to say here, looking at this one anyway, as he comes through the final sector. Does Stefano, NLR Stefano, rather than F7R Stefano, again, as he then heads around the final corner and wants to open his DRS. He'll mash the button, but can't do so as he comes across the line right now, and it only goes 11th fastest, actually, so a massive amount of drop time, I believe. Oh, it was in the first sector by the looks of things for Stefano, so that is actually putting NLR at risk.
Yeah, it is putting NLR at risk indeed. Cameron Dowd's though on top. Of course, he was on top nearly in Bahrain and PSGL on Monday, so he has got good form coming into tonight, albeit in different conditions. Also to the line there, going 9th position as well. Crispy actually in the chat, where's Yano? Yano's currently, can I say he's in P1 right now? Cameron Dowd's out on top from Wiener secondly, and Bowman there in third. Stefano is on the run toward the line as well, the F7L man. A 202.1. Brilliant lap time, I've got to say, from Stefano. Not even within the 107% rule, I think, with that lap time there down in 15th position. Stonks improving through the first sector, though. 7/10 up through the first sector. TTM currently on the ball. Of course, you had an interview with TTM last week, and they are definitely looking good as they come into this season in the Legacy Division. Stonks looking good on this lap.
Yeah, but not looking so good in Qatar, and again, not looking too good in Bahrain. Perhaps the Middle East is not the sort of setting that TTM are expecting to be at their best. But either way, they've lost one of their drivers, obviously, in Q1. So going into Q2 with the full wet tyre, Stonks has got to try and find a stonking lap, to use the paraphrase, maybe the words of yourself, James. He's looking to try and improve where he can. His second sector split coming up, though, and looking relatively okay, actually. Really willing to mount the curbs a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 seconds up in the second sector. He's flying out there at the moment, and I think he's managed to find perhaps a little bit of a dry line, potentially, on the circuit. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see perhaps just the slightest of dry lines now beginning to form, and this is just optimal wet tyre temperatures here. Wet tyre positions here. Stefano for NLR going 3rd fastest. That's what we're expecting potentially from Stefano. But Stonk's going to be coming across the line. He'll be mashing the DRS button, but only goes 4th fastest.
Yeah, exactly where I expected them to go, to be honest. There was a good 4/10 gap between NLR Stefano and Liam Bowman. Going there into 4th position. Really, really good lap, I've got to say, from the TTM man. Putting it potentially within qualifying. F7R Aurelian now coming through the final corner. He's actually broken his front wing. Not sure why he's lost that out on track. But Aurelian, you can tell, frustrated by that, speeds into the pit lane. We see Declan Barrett going onto a lap there as well. Cameron Dowd, though, interestingly, going for a set of inters. And I was going to touch this as I was rolling on board with Stonks there. The rain looks like it's beginning to ease out on track. Only very slightly. It is very difficult to tell, with it being midnight, and how the rain is falling out on track. Whether it is taking that lighter approach. You can see puddles on the right-hand side. It's still pretty much full wet conditions, but you mentioned that dry line. Declan Barrett's finding that, but he's a 10th down in the first sector, so maybe we're already beginning to lose the wet compounder tyres, and that's why drivers are going on a set of inters.
Yeah, Downer and Wiener both elected Dowds and I'll speak again. Dowds and Wiener electing to do themselves a favour and actually move on to the intermediate tyre ahead of time. Aurelian doing pretty well as well in 6th place, with Tom in 8th, and then of course also in 11th, all elected to move on to the intermediate tyre. Plenty of drivers still out looking to set a lap, though. I'm keeping an eye out on Smokey at the moment. He's at risk, actually, is the former PSR man, now racing with Novus Racing. His teammate up in 5th. So he'll be looking to try and improve. But the question is he going to have enough time to actually get into the pits, change onto a set of intermediates and come out again? I don't think he does, you know.
Wow.
And if that is the situation, I think Smokey is potentially at risk here. And Novus have potentially got a driver going to be knocked out here because we've got plenty of drivers who are all out on a set of intermediates now. Oh, Belby's got on a fresh set of wets, though, for some reason. Not entirely sure about that one. Jaeger also on a set of wets as well. He might be okay, but it's all about Zorzo, who has gone on a set of inters.
Declan Barrett sliding the car, coming out through the final corner on the run to the line. I think he could go quickest with this lap time. Oh, he's second. Very good lap time indeed. To think that he was a tenth and a half down in the first sector, and if he got a better run coming up towards turns 2 and 3, which I no doubt he probably had a bit of oversteer, he gained pretty much a second on that lap time. Dead on a second, and he goes second. So he's now put himself maybe at risk, but Liam Bowman there goes even quicker. 41 flat, the track is getting quicker, and the full wets are still working in terms of the compound tyre. Lewis finding time, 16.9 in that middle sector, so Lewis looking good for BRT. Now coming through the final corner on the run to the line as Jaeger there goes second, as Lou going to go quicker than him on the run to the line. Not shy, just shy enough of him, goes third, but BRT definitely cooking, and Declan Barrett there in trouble through the first sector. 700s down, doesn't find improvement in the middle sector. He could well be in trouble as Cameron Dowd's there in fifth. Dirk there going fourth as well. Tootie now going second. Liam Bowman, though, somebody's called a Flying Scotsman up. He's currently out on top with 45 seconds to go in qualifying.
I did say about Declan Barrett still being at risk. It was a good lap, but look at the lap times now coming in thick and fast. He's got 38 seconds to get back round and have another go, actually, has PSR Smokey, but he is now just realised, oh, I'm actually struggling for time here, and he is trying to push around here, but he's limited with his ERS. He's actually 7/10ths up as well, so this is his last opportunity to secure himself a Q3 spot, but it is all about that last person to come across the line. But we're now starting to see the drivers electing to move on to the intermediates. Have another go here. Wiener has decided to go onto a set of intermediates. Cameron Dowds is just about to cross the line now and start his lap on a set of intermediates. So this is all going to be all or nothing here. If it was too early for the intermediates, he's going to struggle. Smokey getting a lovely tow, though, from one of the Mercedes, and he goes third fastest.
Same lap time as Tootie as well, 41.411. All the fours and all the ones currently for TF10 and PSR right now, and Smokey, that is, of course. Smokey part of our NVR here tonight. CPI Wiener improving 9/10ths up through the first sector. Wow! Wiener is setting the timing screen to light. Purple in that first sector. Clearly the tire to be on right now. Cameron Dowd is 5/10ths up and now 1.1 seconds up through the first sector. So Cameron Dowd going quicker than Wiener. Aurelian that's furthest on, I think, in terms of the interlap right now. Zorzo is there, coming through the first sector. He's improving. Tom improving as well. We'll run on board with the F7R man of Aurelian. And at the minute, anybody on a set of wet compounder tyres, you may well be in trouble. The likes of Dirk, who I was about to say is in trouble, has just gone quickest there with a 40.9. Aurelian now through this middle sector is absolutely cooking. 14.4 in the middle sector, quickest of everyone, and he's 3.6 seconds up through that middle sector. Aurelian is absolutely charging through this lap time, as if it's not really even there. Wiener in behind as well, also improving, but not at the extent that Aurelian is right now. The Frenchman now comes in toward the final corner. It's going to be pole, but by how much? Aurelian now on the run to the line here in Q2. He goes quickest out of everyone, and he's 2 seconds quicker than Tootie. Wiener to the line goes quickest as well. Big lap time from him. Tom is on the run toward the line now as well for Team Shazoo. He's through the final corner. Cameron Dowd's also nearly having a collision there with the Alpha Tauri. Cameron Dowd's now going quicker. Zozo there is on the run to the line. That I think is Liam Bowman's AI, if I'm not mistaken. On the run to the line, he does get through. Who on earth is out, though? I didn't catch that. But Zozo there in fifth. Fantastic end to Q2. And the 5 drivers that are out at the end of that Q2, BRT Lou, EPL Bell Belby, TTM Stonks, NLR Stefano, and F7R Stefano. That's going to be a joy for us in commentary.
Yeah, Stefano not managing to set a lap time, but his car was actually potentially blocking Zorzo from setting a lap, but he managed to get through just for 5th place. Zorzo had to make a commit to an overtake at the end of that one, but TF10, who were 1 and 2 at one point, were happy to get through with 6th and 7th. Both of the Novus boys as well, 8th and 9th. They didn't quite get their strategy right, did they, in the end? With Jaeger just managing to sneak through for BRT, and it's a big shame for TTM and NLR as well, who have both lost, TTM have lost both of their drivers now, and of course EPL have done so as well. NLR losing one of theirs, and F7R probably the biggest shock out of all of them.
Yeah, Troy there in the chat actually raising a good point. He thinks Zozo was blocked because someone was on slower compounds. Yeah, I think it might have been Declan Barrett that was on a lap time right now, out on track there, and that is why I think he got stuck running behind him. In the end, had to overtake him at the worst possible point of the track, in towards turns 14 and 15, and he ended up losing time as a result of that. Luckily, though, P5, there was still a comfortable margin for him to get in, but I have a feeling if Zozo was serious about putting a report in, potentially NVR could see a little bit of a steward's report coming in there in qualifying after this race, of course, is done. But now, beautiful, well, can I say dry skies out on track? It's midnight still, but it is clear skies here for Q3, and this is now going to put everyone on tender hooks. Who is going to be the quickest out of everyone? Who's going to be the quickest of the top 10 here tonight in Q3? I'm immediately going to go Declan Barrett.
I mean, it's going to be an incredibly quick lap time, and obviously he's set himself the sights of being the driver that is going to be dedicated for World. Do I think he's going to be quickest? Potentially. I'm going to put my money, though, on... Ooh, go on then. Let's put it on Liam Bowman instead.
Liam Bowman, interesting. Flying Scotsman himself there, down in P6 as it stands. But everyone not coming out of the session just yet. Of course, with it being full wet conditions so far in qualifying, we've pretty much not had the opportunity to really see anybody on a set of soft compound tyres, bar the start of Q1, I think, and then it turned wet halfway through the session. So now we get everyone on this dry compound tyre for Q3. Gonna put everyone on the boil, everyone on the course. We'll get what tyres everyone is going to go on. Looks like drivers, though. Is that right? They're selecting inters. Surely not.
I think they're flicking between the intermediates and the softs, which would tell me that not all of the rain has evaporated on circuit. Remember, of course, that with it being midnight, the amount of rain that's actually going to get taken off of the circuit is going to be slower than if it was in the daytime. So I have a feeling, and there's the DRS enabled, which gives us the indication, or the typical indication, that we're now ready for dry tyres. But that means that this track evolution is going to be loud, it's going to be extortionate, and it's going to be fast. And I have a feeling that whoever is going to be the last person to settle up in Q3 is going to be the person that gets pole at this rate. Track evolution is going to be paramount, but the question is when are they going to go out on circuit? Because of course, any other remaining water that's out on the circuit isn't getting washed away anytime soon.
Definitely not, and you can see actually within the compounds of the pit lane, or the confines, I should say, of the pit lane, you can see actually the track surface are not entirely dry. You can see possible wet patches there, possible spray coming off the cars if they exit the pit lane as well. And we are going to see that in action because everyone now is beginning to leave the session. It looks like Jaeger is going to be one of the first out on track there. Down in one of the Alfa Romeo garages, he is one of the first out on track, along with, I think, an Alpha Tauri, who is coming out on track as well, in toward then the right-hand of turn 1. Camera angle has not been on my side. Jaeger is coming out through turn 1. There he is, finally, and it is Liam Bowman ahead of him. And they're going on a set of soft compounder tyres, both of them. Liam Bowman there on a set of softs as well. So that is the tyre that they are opting for, and that is the tyre, I think, that everyone is going to choose for. They've waited until the track is fully dry, and now they're coming out for the first runs in Q3, which, given that there's 3 minutes gone already in the session, they're going to have to do this out lap, then go for a flying lap, then have a cool down lap, and then they're going to have to repeat that cycle all over again. So they're only going to get, ideally, 2 runs at it.
That is actually a fair point. I didn't think of that because the time, of course, has just been ticking away, hasn't it? So this is now an opportunity for drivers to potentially take a gamble and actually decide, you know what, we're going to leave it out a little bit later and let the drivers just wash away the circuit and just have one lap at it. So, or have a couple of laps of it, maybe have a cool down, maybe have a go out, cool down, go out, cool down, go out again. A couple of ways we can go about it here, I think, but all the drivers electing to get straight out there and hopefully have a couple of goes at it, perhaps with a change of tyres, so we'll have to see. But as you rightfully point out, by the looks of things anyway, it's actually going to be Liam Bowman that's going to set the initial precedent as he's now just approaching the third sector.
It is there indeed. Just Merriam there in the chat saying, I might have never played these modern F1 games, but I can tell you these cars are sketchy even by watching only. That was in full wet conditions. They're going to be probably less sketchy, to be honest, in the dry conditions, which is really good. But F1 2012 stands and all of that, I'm sure Merriam played those games back in the day on the good old PS3. As Liam Bowman now comes in toward the right-hander of turns 14 and 15, he is about to set the timing screen to light then Coming now through the final corner, on the run towards the line and on the run towards turn number 1. This 1 kilometre straight that Liam Bowman has got to set. Let's see what he's going to set in terms of his lap time. On the run now down in towards turn 1, about 200 mile an hour you can catch down in towards turn 1. DRS of course enabled down this part of the circuit in towards turn 1. Absolutely creamed that apex through turn 1, then to the left-hander of turn number 2, then to the right-hander of turn 3, and now up the hill in towards the right-hander of turn number 4, and toward the end of this first sector split. We'll see what Liam Bowman can do. Now coming to the right-hander of turn number 4, in towards the more difficult part of the track, this middle sector. Needy validating through there with 28.5, already quicker than what we saw in Q1 by an absolute country miles. He comes through the midpoint of the lap and turn number 8, gets caught in the outside curve, rotates the car nicely through turn 8, then to the left-hander of turns 9 and 10. My favourite corners on the track, this the double left-hander of turns 9 and 10. A little bit of a lock-up there, running wide again. We're taking the F1 Esports line. Coming through there as well is Liam Bowman on the run towards turn number 11. He's looking very, very solid on this lap time. Don't avoid a bump on the curb on the right-hand side. Now coming to the left-hander of turn number 11, and now in toward the right-hander of turns 12 and 13 at the end of this middle sector. Liam Bowman, a 106 flat in that middle sector, already quicker than Q1. We can definitely tell you that at this stage, as Liam Bowman now unboxed towards the right-hander of turns 14 and 15. We'll turn the timing tower back on the left-hand side to see where everyone is at in terms of their lap times. Liam Bowman runs wide there coming through turn 14, gets the power down out of turn 15. On the run to line comes the Flying Scotsman, and the Flying Scotsman goes quickest with a 27.6, but I don't think that is going to be the quickest lap.
Smokey, though, looking fairly sharp himself, though. Second sector was fairly good. Third sector was even better. 27.4 for Declan, but he's going to have to just bear in mind that the first sector has definitely a bit more time to find in the first sector. Get the power down early going through turn 2, turn 3. I think you might be right with a good call on Smokey, because he is flying out there at the moment. I'm just keeping an eye out on Chudy as well, with the next lap coming in from Shazoo's Tom, who's looking fairly sharp throughout the tournament. Third fastest, though, 27.7.
Yeah, definitely Cameron Dowd's now on the run to the line. He's normally quite quick around here. Goes second, 27.674. Fills him up with a lot of confidence because he goes quicker than Liam Bowman, and behind Declan Barrett, of course. Declan Barrett, if we didn't mention this already, which I don't think we have, he's a McLaren Shadow development driver, which is really, really strong, and that's why he's 2.5 times through out everyone right now. CPI Wiener on the run to the line, goes second, 27.5. Wiener definitely the shock, I think, in this qualifying session so far. Recent signing for CPI, of course, formerly part of the OP gang that joined, of course, in round 1. Then, of course, PS4 side, the PlayStation side closed down, and then they closed altogether in terms of F1, and Wiener there, picked up by CPI in second, out-qualifying Cameron Dowd, which is no mean feat. So far, so good for CPI.
Yeah, very, very good lap, actually, from Wiener. That final corner was really on the edge. He was just powering through the corner, allowing the understeer to drag him out to the white line, and he just planted the car on the white line and just was able to take the car all the way to the finish, and then getting that cracking lap puts him on the front row alongside Smokey. And it could be one to watch here, Wiener, because if he finds, I think looking at comparing the lap times at the moment, it's looking like the second sector is where he lost out. If he could find that time in the second sector, don't discredit CPI for pole here.
Yeah, I'll be honest, Wiener, I think, did set a very good qualifying session in PSGL on Monday around here, so I think he's definitely looking like he's a very strong driver around here. I don't think it went well for him in terms of the race in the end, but Wiener is definitely strong in terms of qualifying. 2D there is not on a run, I don't think. He's coming through the final corner, the Red Bull on the run toward the line. He is not on a run, he's coming now through in towards the pit lane. They're in 5th position. TF10 there, 5th and 8th currently with Dirk. Dirk, of course, a former outplayed racing man himself, currently the team captain for PS side of TF10. He's having 8th position. They're getting out qualified by Aurelian right now. Jaeger, who we haven't mentioned really in this session either, they're in 9th position. BRT, I think for the first time this season, getting a driver into Q3, and of course competing on the Bunga Racing Series. He's definitely got experience coming into tonight, and he's there in 9th, out-qualifying Zozo right now. Not a bad showing from him with, 3 minutes to go in the session. Drivers are going to have to hot-foot it if they want to try and get another run in.
Yeah, and that's a testament to your foresight in this one here, James, because of course now what this means is all of the drivers, who did have an opportunity to potentially come in, looks like one's immediately left the pit straight away. I think it's someone from the McLaren garage potentially, leaving immediately. But yeah, you were absolutely spot on. There we are, more people leaving now, so you're absolutely right in that people needed to really get a shift on if they wanted to try and get a double stint here, so it's going to be quite literally a splash and dash when it comes to the refueling and set of tyres on. Aurelian leaving immediately. He thinks he's got more pace in them. I think he's got more pace in them. The question is where is that pace going to take him? As it stands, the F7R driver is 7th.
And everyone now transitioning onto a full set of soft compounder tyres means we could see potentially, if drivers really think about improving around here, we could see 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6/10 improvements on their lap times around here. So we could even see maybe a Rogue 26. I think it's going to be a little bit too far off that. I'm going to put it nailed down. Declan Barrett 27.2, I think pole position is going to be in terms of qualifying right now. But Smokey there out on top. Wiener the second. Cameron Dowd's there in third. Francesco Largo making the point apparently that Aurelian is also team captain for F7R, which is decent, I think. He's currently there in 7th. Currently outdoing the team captains right now in the battle. Dirk there in 8th position in behind him. Aurelian is the first man out on track. Merriam in the chat saying what should be a 27.1. This is where you can come in though in terms of the chat. Who do you think is going to be on pole position and what time do you think it's going to be in terms of pole position at that as well? Let us know in the comment section. I've already said mine. Declan Barrett 27.2. Jota, you a betting man? What are you going to go for?
I'm sticking with it, Bowman. I'm sticking with Boner on there, with the Boner. Wow, what is wrong with my language today? Bowman in this one with a 27. I reckon it's a 27.3 in him. That's it. I'm just going to say that because I can't talk at the moment, clearly.
27.3 for Liam Bowman. Just to put that out there, yeah. Liam Bowman. Not what he said.
What a hell of a slip of the tongue, isn't it?
His words, not mine, ladies and gentlemen. His words, not mine. And Rally now coming through the final corner on the run toward the line, then on the run down in towards the right hand of turn number 1. Let's see what the F7R man, of course, can do. Out on track, currently at 27.8. Tom there 27.7. So not looking too bad at all. Of course, formerly Tom and Aurelian, formerly teammates. So let's see what Aurelian can do in terms of this lap time. Now coming to the left hand of turn number 2. In toward the right-hander there of turn number 3. Smokey there out on top. Wiener there in second. Cameron Dowd's there in third. Aurelian looking very solid, I've got to say, on this lap time right now. Coming through the first sector split. Let's see what the F7R man can do. Let's see what the Frenchman can do. And it's a 28.4, 600 up in the first sector, so looking good.
Yeah, looking all right, but not too quick, unfortunately, for Aurelian. He needs to be at least within the top 5 if he wants to try and put some kind of pressure on those around. Checkered flag now waving, by the way, so this is the last dash now for people to go in there as they come through into the left-hander.
Zozo didn't make it, actually, in terms of qualifying. He was coming across the line, and the time ran out. He was right behind the Mercedes of Cameron Dowd, I think, and now he hasn't made it across the line, so Zozo's already out.
Yeah, he's already out. So disappointed. Ooh, and there's Aurelian. Big tank slapper. Well caught, but that will be it for his qualifying. There's no way Sector 2 is looking good now. He's 6/10 down, and that will be it for Aurelian. And now we're on a track, remember, which has been evolving quite well. Dirk is a 10th up. Jaeger's only half a 10th down in the second sector. Is also not improving. So Aurelian could be down as far as 9th here as it stands. But we're looking to see where he's going to come across the line anyway. What his lap time would have been. No, he's going to abandon it. Don't blame him at all. It's disappointed to say the least. Jaeger is not improving. Is invalidated in the last lap. So the next person to settle that time will be PSR Smokey. Comes across the line. 27.2 for PSR Smokey. The question is where his teammate's going to come across the line. I said it'd be a 27.3. It's a 27.4.
Cameron Dowd as well as improving 400s down actually in that middle sector. He was improving in the first. Let's see what the Shazoo man can do. Tom on the run to the line as well remains in 6th position. Cameron Dowd, can he find anything? Can he find that magic? Dirk there going 4th. Good lap time from him. Cameron Dowd to the line there in 6th position. Call me Mystic James. Declan Barrett is out on top and it's a 27.2. If you are a betting man, you can go and collect right now. Declan Barrett out on top, a 10th and a half clear of Wiener there in second, Liam Bowman in third, and to be honest, 4,000th of a second covering Wiener and Liam Bowman. Not a bad situation there at all for them both to be in. Dirk there in 4th with 2D there in 5th. TF10, I've got to be honest, coming alive there at the end of Q3. Cameron Dowd's in 6th, Tom there in 7th. Cameron Dowd will definitely be a lot quicker in the race than what he is in qualifying tonight. Tom there in 7th, Aurelian there in 8th, then it's Jaeger in 9th, and Zozo rounding off the top 10. we are going to go for our traditional intermission break, of course, here with the adverts from Next Level Racing and indeed Gridfinder. We'll be seeing you back as a result of that in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Legacy Division. Big thank you, of course, to our sponsors there, Next Level Racing and indeed Gridfinder. It's myself, James Head, and Mr. Jota taking to the stream here tonight, of course, for Legacy Division. A reminder, of course, if you did miss the Qatar Grand Prix, then where on earth were you? Shazoo ended up with a 1-2 in the sprint. Volakongan out on top from Kazizl in second. Dirk there finishing in third. And the sprint race was honestly so much fun in terms of the racing. We had real quality driving, exacerbated by the lack of stewards reports that we had at the end of the feature race as well. Sprint wise though, Volokong and Kazizl out on top 1-2. They'll be hoping for a little bit more luck tonight, I think.
Need to, don't they? I mean, this is the issue now that the championship leaders were on their way, weren't they, to, something really great with obviously a lot of their drivers, originated from the old PSR team, which won the season not last, but of course the one before. So the fact that this has just sort of fallen slightly off a cliff a little bit for F7R is a real suggestion that we've got potentially some, something new brewing within the World Online Racing Legacy Division, and I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to fall in the favour of perhaps teams we would have considered to be midfielders one time ago, but it's all going to be about what Shazoo can do, of course, one of the big three last season alongside F7R and Outplayed Racing. So where are they going to sit themselves later down the line? Not a bad performance in qualifying, but can they make up for any lost time versus, let's be candid, Novus, who have been absolutely killing it out there at the moment?
Yeah, you'd like to imagine so, I think, given how that qualifying session progressed as well. It was a really good qualifying session. Go and watch that back while we've got a little bit of a break there in the action. And of course, the race results from last week. There was a return of Kai Pearson, who took the win last time out for Novus Racing. A fantastic win as well in the feature race. Volakongan and Kazizl in the end, second and third. They got separated by 200ths of a second to the line. Matteo was running at them quite literally right at the closing stages of the race. He's there in fourth. Kai saying, get his face off the screen there in the chat. You're beautiful, my friend. We need to show all the love, I think, to you in terms of showing your face. Yossi there in fifth, Leonardo in sixth. Then Rara in seventh, Luke there in eighth, Clacky in ninth, Gabor 10th, and Josh Gilly, Erpek, Carsey, Gavano, and Dirk rounding off the top 15. Quickly before we get Kai Pearson's face off the screen, Kai Pearson did win last week in Novus Racing, and of course they've got a return on Declan Barrett here tonight. He's on pole position. Novus are looking very strong so far.
They are, and I think they're going to be ones to watch, aren't they? I think not just for this race, but I think possibly moving forward. Of course, their inclusion of Smokey is going to be such a big step forward for Novus, because that means they've managed to recruit a driver who at one point was looking to be sort of esports material, moving over to PC potentially, you know, and a driver now willing to say, you know what, let's chill with console a little bit, let's enjoy the time here with Novus, and let's be candid, that is a precedent setter for Novus. Now, they have got big plans ahead of them, and with a driver like him in the caliber, that tells me short-term and medium-term for sure, Novus have got something cooking. The question is, though, is how long is that going to last? And I'm hoping I'll be able to speak to Novus later down the line. I think in perhaps an interview or two, I'll keep an eye out with that one. And if I do get any further information, I'll be sure to let you guys know.
Yeah, because we had Nathan, I think, as an interview last week, an engineer's interview, which I think was really good insight in terms of how the Novus operation really worked, I think, last week as well. And obviously, we interviewed Kai, interviewed the guys on the top three. They did a fantastic job in the end. Kai obviously saying that he is really looking forward to this season in Legacy Division, looking to try and provide some good results on console. Bowman title win picture, we will be there, says Joe, or should I say Boner? Yeah, that one is not going to escape our minds. I hope it does. I hope it does at some point, but it will not escape at least one of our minds, I think, going forward into tonight's action. But anyways, let's have a look at the standings coming into tonight as well. ET8 out on top on 104, Team Jazoo in second on 98, F7R third on 80, Novus Racing fourth on 77. Given how they, of course, won last week with Kai Pearson, definitely up in the vanguard in terms of the action tonight. TTM in fifth on 31, Outplayed Racing in sixth on 29, L-Plan Racing in seventh on 17, Team TF10 and CPI Esports 12 and 10 respectively in 8th and 9th. Bunker Racing Team tied for points with CPI there in 10th on 10, and then NLR in 11th on 2 points. We are waiting currently for 2 more drivers to get in the lobby. Believe it is both Haas drivers that have currently not joined the session. Hopefully not keeping us up. Otherwise, Luke Humphries is going to be getting the darts out and throwing, literally throwing the darts quite literally at the pictures of both EPL drivers.
Yeah, the EPL team need to get in pretty sharpish, actually. Like, otherwise, they could end up facing the wrath of the stewards if they don't get into this lobby and get started with it. Obviously, we ended up running a little bit late anyway because of my sheer incompetence earlier on. So the last thing I want to do is make this any later than it needs to be. No, but really, really big effort though from the teams actually looking at the generic qualifying. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing actually what I think the performance of Novus have got, because I think, let's be candid, Novus have been really, really good throughout qualifying, especially in Q1. The only drivers to get into the 27s, of course. But I think perhaps they're just a little bit out of place, you have to be honest with you. I know they managed to get pole through Smokey, but I think Bowman, is he starting 5th, I think? So if that is the case, I just need to clarify my numbers here, just have a look at the back on that one. But if that is the case, Bowman's actually in a bit of a precarious position here going into turn 1. It is not the widest of corners, this turn 1, when the apex is so tight to the corner. So if he gets that one wrong, he could end up in a bit of trouble with so many cars around him.
We could see a big knock-on effect, I think, in towards turn number 1 as well. It's going to be really intriguing, I think, to see how the drivers progress through turn number 1, whether or not they tiptoe, whether or not they just back out of it, whether or not they go hell for leather 3 wide in towards turn number 1 and just don't care with anybody on the outside. Because trust me, I've been in that situation before around here in Bahrain. Not a fun situation to be in, I'll be honest, but mate, you have to get your elbows out once in a while, I think you've got to say, in league racing going forward. Reminder, of course, as well, of who was driving tonight here in Bahrain. This is fully up to date, this graphic. Dirk and Tootie in, of course, for the Red Bulls, Team TF10. Zolzo and Stefano in for Team NLR there in the Ferrari, of course, replacing Outplayed Racing after their closure. Cameron Dowds and Tom there in Chazoo for the Mercedes. Wiener and Igor Jelen there in Alpine for CPI. Aurelian and Stefano in, the other Stefano, for F7R there in the McLaren. Lou and Jaeger in for BRT in the Alfa Romeos. Leonardo and Matteo in for ET8 in the Aston Martins. Belbelby and Rayan there in for EPL in the Hatters. They both joined the lobby now, which I'm glad to report. Smokey and Bowman there, of course, in the AlphaTauris for NVR. And then TTM Oxtez and TTM Stonks there in the Williams, of course, further down the field. Miriam saying in the chat, Turn 1 will be an absolute massacre. I believe it might be, because we're going to be told, I'm very sure, of the weather very soon indeed. I got told it earlier on, and to be honest, I've actually forgot what the weather's going to be like, so you can tell we're already up for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're just ready and raring to go, aren't we? So much so we're forgetting all of the critical information because we just want to see the racing. And I know for a fact the drivers are very keen to get going here. Of course, they're all in the lobby now. And I've just seen the weather now being set up immediately, and I'm starting to see a rain symbol appearing. So I think it's going to be a bit of a spicy affair going into turn 1 if they're not prepared, as they were not in Q2. Oh, dear Lord, this is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun indeed, and I think what I got told earlier on, if it hasn't already been given there in the chat, I'm just going to confirm this, that it hasn't actually been given in the chat. Joe has said weather is very wet, dynamic, very wet. It has already been confirmed. I was very scared to say that on the stream. Luke Humphries has already put it in the Discord though, which is good. Very wet, dynamic, very wet in terms of this race here in Bahrain, which is going to be highly intriguing because drivers have now got to decide whether they go half-half of a setup, whether they go 50-50 dry, 50-50 wet, whether they go in terms of full dry setup, whether they go in terms of full wet setup. There are so many possibilities coming into this race. It's actually beyond belief because I got told by Luke Humphries we could potentially see, with the changing weather conditions, potential for 4-stop strategies here tonight.
Yeah, potentially. That is absolutely not out of the equation if they want to elect it. It depends how that dynamic really works, doesn't it? Because if the dynamic is it's going to be completely bone dry before going into, heavy rain conditions again, the question that's going to be on the lips of the drivers are, do we stretch this stint of the wets to go to a set of intermediates for the purpose of going to a set of wets again to make it only a 2-stop? Or do they double down and say, you know what, it's going to be wets, dries, inters, wets? So that could be a 3-stop. So it's all out there, really, isn't it? The drivers are beginning to ready up. We're going to get going for this race. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Oh, this is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun. It's the first ever time there's been a joke around in WOR Legacy Division as well. So this is going to even more spice it up. We are now getting going, as you can see on your screens, readying up into the lobby. Leonardo was already mentioned in the Discord chat, at least. If you have cash to spend, bet on my DNF. ETN already further down the field as it stands, so maybe putting a comment like that in the Discord is not going to fill the ETA guys with any confidence.
No, ETA really need to have a good race though tonight, don't they? Because I think if they end up carrying a really good performance here tonight, then they're in a real good place. Potentially be title contenders in this race, and this is a good opportunity to show, yes, when the weather hits us hard, when unexpected things happen, we are there to take control. They need to have a good race tonight. The qualifying wasn't there, but they're not top of the standings by accident. Let's see what they can do, especially I'm keeping an eye on Matteo.
Definitely not. Luke Humphries there saying in the chat as well, someone sent a photo of the squares, please. Want to see if that's what we wanted in terms of the weather. He tried it earlier on and had 3 full wet symbols, then a wet symbol, so intermediates, then dry, then full, then inters again, and then full wets right at the end of the session, which of course is 60 minutes into the race, which, given how Bahrain is going to go here tonight, God knows how long this race is going to take. But we want to know in the comment section who you think is going to get on top here. As you can see the rain out on top. It is quite literally possibly thunderstorm conditions here in Bahrain. You can see actually the way the rain is falling. You can see the sheet of rain hitting the weather out on track. Looking at the conditions, pretty much I think spot on with what Mr. Luke Humphries would have wanted, because I've just seen the squares there in the chat, and they are pretty much spot on in terms of what he tested earlier on.
This is going to be fun, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to seeing what turn one's got to offer. Of course, we've got no timer at the top of the screen, so I will try and keep my conversations brief in case that there's going to be any overlap. But that turn one is going to be fairly critical, isn't it? Now, of course, the drivers end up thinking, oh, I'm going to hit my braking spot normally. You know, they may not be experienced enough to understand you can't go into turn one too sharp in the heavy rain conditions on lap one in Bahrain. But of course, they don't test for this, do they? They don't practice for this. So, what are the drivers going to do? Are they all going to end up being a little bit more conservative, or we're going to have a mixture of both? Because if we end up having a mixture of both, someone's going to end up in someone's rear.
Definitely so, and just saying Joe's reaction. Joe was very happy that the conditions are. I'm not going to repeat what he said in the Discord, but he's very happy that this weather is how it is. And honestly, this could go any way. This could be anybody's race. You could be starting P20 and you could end up P1 by the end of tonight. It is going to be unpredictable. It's going to be controversial. We're all for it, though, in Legacy Division. Round number 3 of the championship is about to begin very soon indeed. Merriam in the chat saying boat racing potentially out on track could be applicable here in Saudi Arabia. Didn't they have boat racing in Saudi Arabia and George Morgan was on commentary at the weekend?
Could be. I'm just keeping apologies. I'm just keeping a very firm eye on what the strategy is going to be like at the moment as regards of what people are starting on. It looks very clear to me. Everyone's deciding, well, we tried the intermediates during qualifying. It's not going to work. They're all going on the wets, so everyone's going to be electing to start on the wet tyres. And I'm just keeping an eye as well, of course, on that sort of position here, because one thing that I want to keep an eye out actually is P2. It's CPI's Wiener, because he was blisteringly quick in the wets in qualifying, isn't it? If he has a good start versus Smokey, I could see CPI taking some good points here tonight. Maybe even a race victory, I wonder. Cedar Phoenix Igniters, don't discredit them, and don't discredit TF10, of course, as well. They're probably the most consistent of the runners as well, alongside NVR and, you know, potentially as well Shazoo as well, of course, in 6th and 7th, respectively. And don't discredit BRT as well. Not a bad start for them in 9th and 11th.
Christian Clausen there saying in the chat, even with an old OP Google photo that he's got there in the chat, WOR chose Chaos Mode. I agree. I love Chaos Mode, to be honest. I love races like this. It's going to be very entertaining, hopefully, for everyone out on track. If you're not a regular viewer of Legacy Division and going to wonder what the hell is going to be going on over the next 60 minutes or so, welcome to our world. Welcome to the Commentary Box world. Even welcome to Legacy Division. Round number 3 is about to begin very soon indeed, of course, out on track. You were saying Wiener there potentially for the race win. Of course, he's got that outside berth in towards turn number 1, so he should have that run down in towards turn 1, maybe hook to the inside line to get that run through. Of course, the former OP man picked up by CPI. He's definitely going to be there or thereabouts. But this is going to be really interesting, I think, in terms of the racing. We could see a bit of drama. We could see a bit of controversy. It's not Legacy Division without drama and controversy, let's be honest, but we're going to get going very soon indeed out on track. And here we go. The 5 red lights are about to go out now here in Bahrain. Round number 3 of the championship about to begin. And it is very tentatively, lights out, away we go, and Smokey already cuts across on Wiener to try and defend that inside line in towards turn number 1, and Smokey, I think, will lead down in towards turn number 1. Wiener there on the outside line, Liam Bowman there in the inside line, trying to get the car stopped, and Declan Barrett makes a mistake and causes a huge knock-on effect in behind. Declan Barrett leading the way, and Liam Bowman's round. Liam Bowman is round. There's absolute chaos there coming through turn number 1. Now the hill towards turn number 3. Cars galore off. Aurelian caught up in that. Stefano rather all caught up in that. Half the field, let's just face it, caught up in that.
Goodness me.
Safety car deployed out on track. I'm not surprised there's been a safety car deployed just by that. And all of that as Belby has been disqualified for corner cutting and gaining 6th places. Absolute chaotic start. I did say controversy would be a thing in Legacy Division. We've just had that.
Yeah, there's no way that this lobby is going to continue. There's got to be some kind of restart considered in this one. That was a pretty appalling start, and red flags have surely got to be called. We've got more 5-second penalties being thrown. I think that's just because people were just trying to avoid accidents. And in fairness to Belby, he probably just cut across the entirety of turn 1 to try and avoid any kind of collision. But I did say that, didn't I? P1 is going to be the person that judges exactly where the braking zone is. He goes into turn 1, he outbrakes himself, and actually I think he collides with his teammate ever so slightly, which causes a collision involving the driver in 2nd place in the CPI, and in the end it just causes a massive chaotic incident at turn 3-4, where of course it's significantly tighter. Did say it happened, everyone knew it happened, it's happened. Oh, we're getting a restart, I wonder though.
judging by what has been going on, Luke is saying just unlucky, lads. So no restart by the looks here in the Discord. So
Oh, wow.
definitely playing with fire. Somebody's going to get burned. I think half the field got burned there coming through turn number 3, to be honest. Smokey there out on top. Cameron Dowd second. Lou there in third. Just about escaping all of that. Liam Bowman in the end, after getting spun around, is somehow sixth and behind Wiener. I don't get how that's worked out, to be honest, there. But that's the end of lap 1. We should be seeing drivers come into the pit lane very soon. It's very dark, actually, out on track there, running down the straight in towards turn number 1. Cameron Dowds, though, has decided to come into the pit lane, so I wonder what he's going to go on in terms of the tyres. Zolza has picked up a penalty, as well as Leonardo and Tom. Everyone coming into the pit lane. You're right, set of intermediate condition tyres on the car. Matteo, interestingly, started on a set of inters, so he's there in 4th, already looking pretty good. But you can tell 4 drivers staying out on lap 1 just comes to show what a hell of a start that we actually had there on lap 1. And Joel saying show the position changes. Let's have a look at the position changes at the end of lap 1.
Positions
My God.
Matteo, wow.
15.
Oh my goodness me! Yeah, it's 50. Sorry, Matteo 15, Stonks 10. They've all obviously elected to stay on the wet tyre, aren't they? Lou doing exactly the same thing for BRT as well, of course. Off the back of that one, I feel sorry for EPL though. The only driver that's able to gain a position is Rara, and that's because his teammate's been disqualified. So absolutely appalling stuff out there at the moment, and what a mixed bag it is. But to say the least, Stefano is probably going to be the one that's going to be happy for F7R now up to 7th place. And he'll have to hope that he can stay within touching distance of Liam Bowman, who's down 3.
Definitely. So, EPL Belby, by the way, is not a very happy bunny right now. They're getting disqualified at the end of that one. Trust me, 99%, 99.99% of you there in the chat will probably respect this decision from Belby. He'd be absolutely fuming at this stage, and so would you be. If you were in the same scenario as him, down in P20, already out of the race, all of that effort, all of that practice time, put in for what? To only get 3 corners and then to have the game basically say, you're illegal overtaking 6 people, we're going to disqualify you out of the race. That's exactly what's happened there with Belby. You've got to feel sorry for him. Dan and P20, every single person would be feeling sorry for him, I'm sure, right now in the chat. But in the end, Matteo absolutely cooking. 15 positions gained, as you mentioned. Stonks there in 3rd, 10 positions gained. And good start from Lou, 9 positions gained. So all of this race, and it's going to get dry in this race as well at some point. Don't know when, but at some point it's going to get dry. Declan Barrett leads the way, Lou in 2nd, Stonks in 3rd. It's a good job I didn't ask you for a race prediction, Mr. Jota, because I think, put it this way, I think we'll be all up in arms right now.
Oh my goodness me, I'm just keeping an eye on the paddock chat at the moment. Should we say it's not very friendly out there at the moment? In fairness, Luke is actually doing quite a good job to try and manage the team here on this one, but just to make it clear, he's saying it's not worthy of a restart. A disqualification is not worthy of a restart. Doesn't matter what team it is not. Other people are saying it's time penalties are applied. We've got to get rid of them, haven't we? Yeah, fair point. But the bottom line is it is what it is on that front at the end of the day. They could change the rules to say that, we're switching to corner cutting only, but then, of course, you can speed in the pit lane at 500 miles per hour and not get a penalty. So it is just a real sort of tag team out there. More people coming into the pits to get onto the intermediate tyre now. Of course, the intermediate tyre is probably the tyre to be on because, of course, as and when this heavy rain spell ends, the intermediate tyres will come on fairly quickly. We saw that in qualifying during Q2. So this is what it's all about now up at the front. Are those wet tyre compounds going to allow, the top 3 to just get away just enough that by the time when we get to the intermediate tyres, stint, it's not going to be of a massive issue. And of course, remember, they've got to go into turn 1 again. Now, Smokey's had a little bit of experience going into turn 1 at Bahrain in the wet. Is he going to make that same mistake again and cause another pile-up, I wonder? Let's see what happens. Safety car, it should be coming in at the end of the next lap.
Yeah, it should be indeed. Stefano and Rava back into the pit lane, going for a fresh set of intermediate compound of tyre. Intermediate compound of tyres, by the way, around this track, pretty much gains you around about 4% on average per lap. So 4% average. Stefano will have basically 4% fresher tyres than 2D's Tom, Aurelian, the likes of them ahead of him. Smokey there leading the way, Lou in 2nd, Stonks there in 3rd. Miriam saying in the chat, this race will be so chaotic. It will. I hope you're prepared. I hope you've got the popcorn ready because there's going to be plenty of that getting thrown. Maybe from the EPL side right now. Tyres, though, from everyone. Kenzie mentioned about the tyres there in the chat. Everyone pretty much is on a set of inters right now. Everyone in the top 4 haven't pitted yet. Everyone else has and behind at least once. And they're on a set of inters. Apart from Zozo, interestingly, going for full set of wets. They're down in P9. Now, obviously, he can't come in the back of the pit lane. Declan Barrett is in. They're all actually transitioning over to the inters now because the rain is definitely easing off out on track.
Well, that means, would you believe, the leading driver at the end of this lap will be ET8's Mateo. After all of this one, I did say keep an eye on him. I didn't think it'd be this quick that we'd be keeping an eye out on him. He's now coming, obviously, into the pit. He's coming into the pit lane very early on to switch onto the set of intermediate tyres, which means he's gone from 19th to 1st. In just 4 laps as a result of this complete mix-up. But as it stands so far, ET8 will be leading the way from Mateo. Team Shizua in second with Cameron Dowds. And then Liam Bowman for Team... wow, I'll get there in the end. Novus Racing in third from F7R. And then CPI Wiener. So Wiener, obviously the big miss-out. He was started in second. He's down 3 positions as a result of that collision at the beginning of this race. But he hasn't lost out big time. He's got a bunch of drivers all in front on a set of intermediate tyres. He now joins them. So it might not all be over for the Cedar Phoenix Igniters. Definitely not. And just to correct you there, actually, Mateo started on this set of intermediate compounded tyres. I don't think he's actually been in the pit lane just yet. He hasn't. He's basically done what Jono Uppbeat did. What Jono Uppbeat has done in the past on a set of intermediate compounded tyres. I don't think around this track in particular. Where's Jono? He's in first. But where Jono is, he is in first. He is in first. Mateo just masquerading them as in right now. They're in P1. Cameron Dowd in second. Liam Bowman there in third. Very, very good, I've got to say, for Mateo so far. And he's on that set of inters. He knew what the game was going to do. I'm not sure if he's been taking my B-Tech weather lessons, potentially, in terms of the weather on this game. But Mateo absolutely timed that to perfection. Started on the set of inters. He knew what the weather was going to do. He knew that it would go pretty much immediately after the race had started. So Mateo, on that set of inters, is now in control of this race. And now will be even more control because the safety car is in this lap. Mateo now the virtual Bertman, and he's now the virtual safety car. He's got Cameron Dowd in behind him, Liam Bowman in behind him as well. And I am going to literally lick my lips right now in terms of this P1 and P2 battle. Mateo and Cameron Dowd, 2 of the youngest rising stars on PlayStation, 2 of the youngest rising stars on console, about to lead us hot here in Legacy Division. This is going to be an interesting battle between them both if they keep it clean. And if not, hopefully all hell doesn't break loose this time around. Yeah, we've got to keep an eye out here then as he's just weaving the car, taking it very gingerly. Of course, he's now the de facto safety car, if you will. Comes across the safety car, the safety car line now. So free to go whenever he is ready. And of course, overtaking happens at the start finishing line. But of course, no surprises. He's leaving it as late as he possibly can, I think, before he gives any kind of indication he's going. And there he goes. He has caught Cameron Dowd's napping, but there has been a swap between Leo and Wiener as we go green again here in Bahrain. And Liam Bowman's on the back of Cameron Dowd and even passing him down the outside line in towards turn number 1. The Flying Scotsman now in full cry as he goes to the outside of turn number 1. There's a Red Bull there, nearly out of shape, coming halfway down the straight. That was Dirk, I think, and all of that. Jaeger getting mixed up in that as well. Dirk's nearly spun already and in the background. On board with the leaders, though, all clean from the front 5 in front at least. And Liam Bowman's got a phenomenal run on Mateo in towards the right-hand turn number 4. And the Italian now has to defend off the Flying Scotsman. The Flying Scotsman goes all the way around the outside. Liam Bowman is still there on the outside line, now into the chicane of 6 and 7. Mateo, Hanslat inside line. Not going to work indeed as Cameron Dowd is on the back and maybe looking 3 wide into turn number 8. And Cameron Dowd tries to make it to the inside line. How on earth has that worked out as Stefano is involved in this as well? But Cameron Dowd, I think, is the one that's going to lead out of all of this. They're 3 wide in towards turns 9 and 10. And Liam Bowman is the one that comes out on top, parting the Red Sea, running up towards turn number 10. Liam Bowman leads, Cameron Dowd in second, and Mateo from leading at the start of the safety car is down to 3rd. You know what? Fair play to Cameron Dowd's actually made the dive bomb, took the risk. It's worked quite well, actually. He's put him in front of Mateo, but Bowman is now going to start scampering off into the distance. F7R Stefano also looking fairly sharp, but of course never discredit the Cedar Phoenix Igniters. In Wino's looking for the inside line. Elects not to go for it on this occasion, but he's putting that Mercedes under pressure and actually pulling away from Shizou Tom. He is indeed. Wiener there on the back of Stefano. Stefano on the back of Mateo. This is going to be an interesting berth between the Red Bull, the Aston Martin and the McLaren even. They're in 3rd and 4th. Dirk there and Tootie dropping down the field as a result of their instant midway through the field.
Liam Bowman, though, leading the way. Cameron Dowds in second. Mateo there in third. Relatively clean restart, I've got to be honest there. Oxtez in the rally in a side-by-side. Oxtez, who was once thrown out of F1 Esports Challengers, is side-by-side with the man in F1 Esports Challengers. In towards turn 1. A rally in too deep on the brace. Gets the job done. Oxtez falls wide because there's Tootie on the inside line of that at all as well. And the Romanian now is side-by-side with the Brit on the run up the hill and towards turn number 3. They're looking and dicing as Igor Jelin on the back of Leonardo Tonaletto even. Goodness me, Tootie on the back of a rally and tries to hang on for P9 and he does. Liam Bowman leads, Cameron down second, Mateo there in third. Unbelievably, we're 6 laps into this race.
Yeah, it feels a bit longer than that one, doesn't it? Just keeping an eye on Oxtez as well, who's obviously, it was actually in a good battle for 6th, actually, early on into this race, but lost a few positions. Late breaker into there, but elects not to go for the move on this particular occasion. Really spicy affair happening, though, towards the front then, as Wiener's really starting to put the pressure on F7R Stefano.
And Igor Jellin's right on the back of Leonardo here, and Leonardo, unfortunately for him, is in a bit of a rolling roadblock right now. He's there in 7th. He's got Igor Jellin all over the back of him. Of course, the man, the gold for CPI there in 8th position. Aurelian there in 9th. Tootie there in 10th. He's just basically forcing Leonardo through the corners. Leonardo is not happy with these conditions at all right now. The sparks fly as they come now through the right-hand returns 12 and 13. Igor Jellin on the back of Leonardo. Liam Bowman, though, clear out in front. 1.2 seconds. Jaeger was round and might have attempted a move to the inside line there potentially, but Jaeger is round. He's there down in P18, recovering the car. Also back into the pit lane as well, which we might have missed. But Liam Bowman leads the way. Cameron Dowd second, Mateo there in third, Stefano fourth, Wiener in fifth, then Tom in sixth, and now Igor Jellin's going to challenge for 7th. They're running, going to challenge for 7th as well, because they're now side by side with Leonardo running down the straight. That should be easy, but it's 3 wide in towards turn number 1, and then McLaren tries to dice it to the inside line of Aurelian, looking to try and get both of them done, and he does. Aurelian through, beautiful stuff in towards turn number 1. 3 into 1 does not go. Aurelian there in 7th, Igor Jellin in 8th, and that's why Leonardo's struggling. He's got left side end plate damage.
Igor Jellin will be wondering how he's still in 8th at this point in time, but he has got that front wing damage, and here comes a move potentially from Judy down the inside line on Leonardo, and on this occasion they're still going side by side. We saw this earlier on in the race, didn't we? Sector 1, yellow flags waved. I think it's for a slow car, might have been Rara, but there goes the move, and Judy now up to 9th, and Leonardo now down to 10th.
Yeah, so Rara spin in the background. Oh my word, there's dirt to the inside line, and Leonardo as well, trying to force the TF10 man to the inside line there. Leonardo's not having any of that, and now they're side by side with a beautiful helicopter camera, may add, in towards turn number 10. They're pretty much mincing their way through turn number 10, but Dirk around the outside gets that job done. Leonardo is struggling with that left side end plate damage that I reported coming out of turns 2 and 3. Clearly picked that up early on in the race. May picked that up maybe from Igor Jellin, but he's there dropping down the field. He's there in 11th position. Liam Bowman leading the way. Cameron Dowd in second, Mateo there in third. Everything hopefully now calming down. The front 6 are definitely pulling away right now. And what I have noticed actually within the top 6, apart from Team Chazoo, we've got 5 teams in the top, 5 different teams in the top 6 right now.
Solid sort of dry line now beginning to form out there at the moment. The rain is starting to lighten up a little bit as we head into our dynamic weather area now. Question is it going to dry enough potentially for dry tyres as and when this rain potentially stops, I wonder. And that, of course, is always going to fall in favour for those that have elected to come into the pits and swap over to a set of intermediate tyres. Ray, Smokey, potentially Lou as well, who might slowly get back into this race later down the line. As Stonks is getting into a little bit of a battle as he overtakes Leonardo himself, squeezed down the inside line. He's keeping his car there though, and he's still fighting the ET8 man despite the wing damage, but Stonks will pull away. Oxtez looking like he wants to get in there as well, but Zach will stay in 13th.
Yeah, he will stay in 13th indeed. Might just have to wait on this move, and that move might not come now because he's right on the back of Leonardo, but he's not going to get the job done. Leonardo, of course, they're down in P12, definitely struggling. If he has got that wing damage, as I'm reporting, if he has, he's struggling, and Oxtez is all over the back of him. And you do not want a man who has got into the ear of Dan Hawkins on the back of you, quite literally. There in P13, Lou there in 14th, as Oxtez is on the back of Leonardo, looking towards the inside line, in towards turn number 10. If that was him about 2 years ago at F1 Esports Challengers, he would have went for that move and tried to force Leonardo off track. Luckily, he hasn't done that, and Oxtez there and still in 13th.
He's still not doing donuts on circuit either, so nothing extraordinary coming from Oxtez on this particular occasion, but still putting the pressure on Leonardo. Now, if I were ET8 here, what would you do out there, folks? If you were in ET8's position here, you're going to drive a hemorrhaging positions, potentially front wing damage. You can see he's understeering really badly as well, going through some of the corners. So, you know, would you bring him in? Would you put another set of intermediate tyres on, knowing there's potentially a dry stint? Or would you take the gamble, put him on a fresh set of intermediate tyres, and it may never become the dry stint? It may end up just being intermediates all the way to the end of the race, if not potentially heading over to wets again. So opportunity knocks here potentially, and we haven't got a lot of time though, VT8, to make that decision. Probably only about 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, definitely so. Looking at ball with the battle for P2, Mateo's right on the back of Cameron Dowds. Nobody really wants to use up any ERS and put them in a big disadvantage out on track. Dirk there to the inside line in the background on Igor Jelen. Now around the outside of turn number 2, trying to get the job done through turn 3, up the hill in towards turn number 4. Igor Jelen's not going to like that move getting done on him, because Dirk has just flew past him to the inside line into turn number 4. Job done for Dirk. He's through and he's into 9th. Igor Jelen there in 10 and Stonks there in 11. Zozo setting the fastest lap of the race there with a 1:40.381. Coming in the fastest lap out on track. And I may add as well, running ball with Igor Jelen, the rain has now stopped out on track. The rain has completely stopped out on track, which means we could get a dry period very soon indeed, as Igor Jelen nearly has a spin coming out of turn number right.
Yeah, and I have a feeling now, because of course, remember, these track conditions are going to periodically get quicker and quicker when it's really hot out there. The only saving grace to these drivers is the fact that there is absolutely no sunshine to evaporate the water quickly, but the heat out there is going to be so intense, the humidity may actually keep the track damper than you realise. So we'll keep an eye out and see if anyone elects, you know what, I'm going to bail on this one and I'm going to come in for a set of soft tyres, I wonder. We'll keep an eye out on this one, as Cameron Dowds has actually started to gain some pretty quick inroads now on Liam Bowman. Was 1.4 seconds, the gap now 1.0 as he's approaching the final corner. DRS may be enabled very soon, and Bowman, is trying to play game. Another lap on these inters, but I think it's dry soon.
I think that's the right decision. Personally, Mateo, though, goes to the inside line at turn number 1. Doesn't care that Cameron Dowds alongside him, but we are going to get a battle between the two young rising stars on console. Here we go, Mateo and Cameron Dowds. Now from the left-hand of turn number 2. Cameron Dowds gets one up on Mateo for now. Mateo might have to run in towards turn number 4 on the back end, but look at how dry that track is. On the right-hand side of your screen, on the left-hand side of your screen, behind the timing tower, it is so dry on that part of the track. Everyone now coming in for a set of dry compounded tyres. Dirk is in, Leonardo in, Stonks in, Declan Barrett in as well, Stefano in as well for NLR, and Zozo should be in as well. He's actually the fastest lap of the race with 1:40.2, as that was. I think Wiener going off track there, loses a bit of time. There's a yellow flag through turn number 1, and there's a VSC, because Leonardo, I think, has spun coming out of the pit lane. He has indeed, he's lost his front wing. How has he done that?
Yeah, the precarious place to lose the front wing, but it's brought the VSC out. Now, if this VSC stays out and a little long here, I'm wondering if some drivers may elect to take a gamble here and go on to the soft tyres. Those, of course, that haven't already switched over to the soft tyres. Dirk Stonks electing to do so. Leo, of course, in there as well with Smokey and Stefano. But without that front wing for Leo, unfortunately for ET8, I think that will be it for his race, unless something absolutely biblically weird happens out there. Bowman just coming across now at the third sector split, so we're going to see how he decides to make the call here. Well, they, of course, don't no longer have Crispy as their manager now, have they, at Novus? So, that insight is not going to be there anymore. The question is what is it going to be as they're now coming across? Oh, a drive-through penalty for speeding on the pit lane for Cameron Dowds, of all people. And people are coming in to switch over to dry tyres. So that will be now a drive-through penalty served for Cameron Dowds. He's going to be coming straight back out on the same set of inters, surely.
Surely is. Let's see what Cameron Dowds is going to do. The Mercedes, he's gone past the Mercedes garage. He's going to go straight through the pit lane. So Cameron Dowds is in absolute strife here. And unlucky for him, I was on board with the entirety of that. And I think it was 2 miles an hour over under the VSC. So Cameron Dowds there, coming out of the pit lane, will lead the race. Liam Bowman, though, is technically in the net lead of the race, because there's now bone dry out on track. DRS has been enabled, I think, out on track now as well. And that's now going to put completely, as DRS is enabled, because Stefano's going to look for the move on Mateo, coming fresh out of the pit lane. The Oxtez is still out there on a set of inters as well. He didn't want a double stack, I think, with Stonks on the earlier lap. Cameron Dowds there leads, Liam Bowman second, Mateo there in third. Oxtez, actually, though, if the dry period is going to last for a good few laps or so, Could he potentially stay out on that compounder tyre and then stay out there until we get the full set of wets and the inters later on in the race? Who knows?
No, that's a bold call, but I think the tyres would be absolutely shredded by then, and I'm just keeping an eye on Cameron Dowd, who's locking up his front, going through 10, and I have a feeling he's going to be hemorrhaging time left, right, and centre. He was actually going to get overtaken by Liam Bowman, you know, considering as well here, we've got plenty of battle happening between the TTM boys, and here comes Dirk as well. Oh, switchback. Tried to find it, did Stonks, but not going to work on this occasion. He will get the overtake done. He's going to keep on with this as well with the soft tyres, and he re-overtakes Dirk for 9th.
Yeah, easy done for Stonks through, and he's into 9th position. Definitely getting the job done there on the back of Dirk. Dirk still stays out there on the outside line, but in the end, soft compounder tyres coming into play. Cameron Dowd then will be into the pit lane this lap around. Absolutely guaranteed he cannot go on that set of inters. Basically, a set of inters on the dry track is like a set of hard compounder tyres. Remember the Blue Wall and Silverstone back in the day? Pretty much like that. Stefano and Matteo are side by side, running down the straight then, in towards turn 1. This is the battle for P2 now. Stefano on that set of softs, Matteo on that set of mediums, and Stefano eases past Matteo, was not even there. Thuni's into 2nd, Matteo there in 3rd, Wiener 4th, Tom there in 5th, then a rallying in 6th, Cameron Dowd forfeiting and hemorrhaging positions further down the field as Igor Jelen now makes the CPI 410 out on track as he gets the move done on the inside of loop in towards turn 1 and gets the job done, and he's through, and he's into 10th position. We might have the run at him though, up the hill and towards turn number 4, and do you know what? He's going to get back past him. Igor Jelen says, you know what? You're coming back through. Lou back through, and he's into 10th.
It's really, really quick driving out there at the moment, and I'm just keeping an eye out on the Cedar Phoenix Igniters here, because I think if Igor Jelen can get a little bit of a shift on here, they could be on for some really big points tonight. They just needs to find, if he can get somewhere like 7th or 8th maybe in this race, CPI could be in for some well-deserved and actually some well-needed points, actually, if they want to try and climb up the standings in World Online Legacy, you know, World Online Racing Legacy Division. I told you, I'm not doing good with words today. Something's wrong with me. I need to take a breather, I think, for certain, but 12 of 29 to go. We've got 16, just over 16 to go in this one. Liam Bowman pulling away from Stefano on a fresh set of soft tyres at the moment, but Matteo just keeping within touching distance. ET8 could still be on for that podium that they're desperate for.
Fresh from the Middle East, by the way, George Morgan there is in the chat. I did mention him earlier on. I wonder if somebody's given the talk saying, James has just mentioned you on the WOR stream. You better come in. George Morgan is here, though. We are in absolute racing privilege right now to have him here in the chat. Liam Bowman there leading the way. Stefano 2nd. Matteo there in 3rd. Lap 13 out of 29 here in WOR Legacy Division. Here comes Stonks on the back of 2D in towards turn number 1. Dirk's going to look for the movers potentially as well, but TF10 could try the block. Not if you're on the outside line, though, for 2D. Stonks surely going to get the job done to the inside of turn number 1, and the TF10 boys need to make contact there through turn number 1. Dirk's now going to have the run on the back of his teammate. Is his teammate going to let him go? He's on a lap older tyres as Dirk. Think 2D will be prioritised here. 2D will remain in P8 for now. But look at the guys out on track ahead. Stefano now carving that gap, literally like a turkey at Christmas. Stefano there in 2nd, on the back of Liam Bowman, now under a 2nd, and he's got DRS at this point of the track as well, which is crucial, because he can now pull away from Matteo, pull away from Wiener. Everyone now going to string the field out. Liam Bowman's desperately trying to string the field out in front, and he's trying to take a one for my little buck around here, because I strung out the field around here in my League of Europe Division race, and I won around here. So Liam Bowman's doing the same as me.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying out there at the moment with those medium tyres, but the thing is Stefano is starting to reel him in a little bit now with 0.6 of a second and gaining. Of course, remember, soft tyres, and he's burnt through his ERS as well, has the F7R driver. Remember, F7R, of course, are the defending champions from last year, so they want to try and set some kind of precedent after what has been a very poor set of runs. Oh, a little bit of a mistake from Liam Bowman as well, so Stefano, again, going to reel him in. DRS is available, no ERS being used on this occasion, and fastest lap of this race with that 30.481, but of course, that lap time is, of course, going to keep, you know, crashing down with how quick it is out there at the moment and how quicker it's getting with the track evolution. Stefano, though, will be in 2nd. He continues in that form. Question is he going to go for a next move potentially into 4-5, I wonder? On this occasion, I wonder, probably not, and I reckon maybe, just maybe, he'll be looking for it at the end of this lap. Nara getting a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So it's the first penalty, actually, as a result of track limits in this entire race, except for Bell Belby, who ends up disqualified as a result of said action.
Yeah, unfortunately for Bell Belby, out of the race. He'd be watching on in this lobby and thinking, why can't I be out there? I really want to race these guys. Mistake by Liam Bowman, went too deep, but actually he gets a much better run coming out of the corner because Stefano in turn went deep coming through that part of the track, and Liam Bowman maximised the traction coming out of the corner, and that's what brought him that 0.5 of a second. And again, coming out of turn number 10, definitely getting better traction compared to Stefano right now. So maybe the mediums are already at a point where they're quicker than the set of softs out on track 4 laps into their stint. Remember as well, we are going to get rain towards the end of this race as well. Whether or not it's inters, whether or not it's very wet, remains to be seen. But what I can guarantee you right now, this is probably the driest part of the race we'll ever see. Liam Bowman leads the way, Stefano there in second, Matteo there in third, and Stefano has got to use what Cameron Dowds did in PSGL PSF1 on Monday. If you didn't watch that back, go and watch that back with Cameron Dowds, because he had a really good insight in terms of how he saves his ERS, and Stefano hopefully is going to now just stay in behind. No, he's not. He's going to go for the move in towards turn number 1. Goes my point. Stefano there to the inside of turn number 1. Gets the job done. But what he can now do is obviously staying behind on Liam Bowman if he wants to, and save up that bit of ERS. And it's very easy, especially in that middle sector, to actually gain ERS around here. So Stefano will definitely be looking at that.
Yeah, and you got to remember, of course, in this situation now, you know, he's going to be on. He's going to have to start harvesting some energy now and really, really looking after his ERS management. Down to 15% of Bowman, up nearly 50 at the moment. Of course, with that DRS, it's going to allow him to not really push that hard and stay within touching distance. And he'll think, well, I am actually quicker than Stefano once we're on the same compound of tyre, which of course will be either the inter or the wet. Towards the end of this race when this rain falls, but of course we can't see the clouds in the sky to determine when that's going to happen, and a mistake there from Stefano allows Bowman potentially for an attack, but surely Bowman will stay within touching distance and not commit to the overtake on this one. Dirk will remain in this little battle with his own teammate, whilst of course Lou is just tucked in behind. Really good stuff there for 9th.
Lou there on the back of Dirk. Dirk really, really squirreling that action coming out of turn number 10, trying to oversteer the car basically through the corner. Kind of take the Tokyo drift line like the drivers were doing in the hairpin in Monaco in season... in round 1 of the championship even. Lou there on the back of Dirk, doing a good job at the minute. Jaeger, who performed well, of course, in Q3. He's all the way down in 13th right now. But here comes Liam Bowman for the race lead. On the back of Stefano, gonna easily breeze past underneath the Gulf Air sign. Should be in the lead by the time turn number 1 comes around. But watch him behind, because Matteo is under pressure from Tom. Tom now to the inside line in towards turn number 1. Wiener could follow through as well. Could be a 2 for 1 in towards turn number 1. Matteo is gonna get diced here to the inside line. Now on the outside line, Wiener has the traction, Wiener has the run, and Wiener could get the move for P4. Mateo's trying to get him, maybe boxed in towards turn number 4. Wiener to the inside line. Matteo on the outside line. Tries to hang on the CPI man, the XOP man. Going there with the ET8 man. He's chopped him off and he gets the job done. Beautiful racing between them both. Wiener there in 4th. Matteo there in 5th. And that is why Matteo is one of the rising stars here on console. There in 5th. Really good driving and defensive action with Wiener there.
Yeah, Wiener certainly was the Wiener in that particular battle. He was absolutely fantastic. I'm sorry, James, that was poor, wasn't he? I know you've got your standards, mate, but I'm sinking much lower in that one. He's absolutely flying, though, is Wiener out there with 4th. And, of course, CPI looking to try and take their first podium ever in World Legacy Division history. Never mind taking their first of the season. So this is going to be one he's going to fight for. And, of course, if he's beaten the championship leaders, he'll think, in Matteo with ET8, he'll think, well, surely we can go for second with Tom in 3rd. Of course, don't ever discredit F7R Stefano, though, who of course has exchanged positions with Liam Bowman once again. So this is all going to be about how can he stay within touching distance of Liam Bowman, harvest his energy, not burn through his tyres too hard ahead, of course, the next rain spell that's going to be occurring imminently. Once again, though, we won't see it in the sky because, of course, it's pitch black out there.
It is pitch black out there. Luckily, though, in terms of the graphics and everything, we can actually see the drivers out on track now, unlike what we were at the end of lap 1. Stefano there on the back of Liam Bowman. Liam Bowman there leading the way from Stefano in 2nd. Tom there in 3rd. Wiener 4th. Matteo there in 5th. Tudi there on the back of Dirk in towards turn number 1. Tudi there up into 7th. Dirk there in 8th. Stonks in 9th. Lou there rounding off the top 10. Then it's Igor Jelen, Smokey, Declan Barrett, of course, Jaeger, Stefano and Cameron Dowds, top 15. Zolzo, Oxtez, Rara and Leonardo, the 19 drivers continuing on out on track. Myself, James Head and Jota taking to the commentary here tonight as Lou gets the job done on Stonks, coming through turn number 4. He's through and he's into 9th.
And this is where it's all going to be about now, with the TF10 team, who are actually doing really, really strong, actually, in 7th and 8th, respectively. Fresh set of medium tyres, and they're getting, a little bit of distance between them and Aurelian, but the soft tyres will be coming towards the end of their stint soon. And you've got to remember, of course, when the rain falls, what's the worst tyre to be on? A dry tyre that's got absolutely no rubber on it whatsoever. So a bit of a bold call for those that have elected to go onto the soft tyre versus the mediums, but it's all going to be about how well they've looked after it. I'm going to be perfectly candid with you. Stefano's not really looked after him very well. I don't think Aurelian has either, so both of the F7R boys have elected to go onto a set of soft tyres. When that rain falls, I think those F7R boys are going to start to really struggle for managing their time, never mind the tyres, grip and everything else around them. So keep an eye on that little sort of brewing scenario, I would suspect, by F7R. They're going to be hoping that the rain falls, and it falls soon.
Kai Pearson, actually, on the fact that the rain is there, can anyone tell me when the rain is coming? It's pouring now. We can't tell you. Unfortunately, we're not weathermen out on track here tonight in Bahrain, but I will probably hazard a guess by saying if it looks like the cloud is beginning to build over the circuit. You can just tell in terms of the graphics may be changing slightly. It's got a little bit darker out on track, so maybe we've got imminent rain coming. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say around about lap 22 or 23 in terms of the rain, and then it takes 2 laps to try and get on, so we'll only have, I think, intermediate compounded tyres 5 laps to the end of the race, which means everyone can then group up again. Of course, we haven't had a safety car bar the lap 1 incident, which if you want to go and watch that back, you can. I think it's going to be around lap 22, 23. In and around that point, the rain will start. And if it does, we'll get rain for about 5, maybe even 6 laps to the end of the race, because around this track, the rain quite literally falls very, very heavily and very, very quickly around this track as well. But Liam Bowman leading the way, Stefano second, Tom there in third, Wiener fourth, Matteo there in fifth. At the minute, it concerns the front 5, but I would hazard a guess by saying nobody is really out of this race right now.
Nobody is in any risk, I think, of potentially not winning this race. I would say anyone from probably around about Aurelian upwards, I think, has got probably a good shout. It's all dependent on whether those soft tyres are actually in a good place at the moment. I would argue they're probably going to be approaching not very, to say the least. Aurelian, by the way, is burning through his ERS aggressively. He now has 0% ERS here in his little battle, and I'm wondering if he's starting to burn through his energy, because he's starting to realise he's losing time versus everyone, and he's started to I don't know, just maybe get a bit trigger happy on the button, which is allowing, potentially Chudy to get into the mix here. Lou up to 8th, by the way, in that battle against Dirk. Stonks up to 10th with that, of course, on a soft tyre. And everyone else behind on a medium, except Stefano, probably one to watch as well, as he starts to get closer and closer to Cameron Dowd.
Yeah, remember as well, Luke Humphrey's making a really good point, by the way, in the chat. Transition will be very quick, so it should rain towards the end of the race. It might be the sort of Las Vegas WOR Console Tier 1 that we had, where it rains on the final 2 laps of the race, and then we don't get really any wet running towards the end of the race. It could happen. It could well happen. Liam Bowman, though, leading the way. Stefano second. Tom there in third. Wiener in fourth. Matteo there in fifth. It's concerning front 5 right now. Everything is a little bit boring. I'll agree with Kai Pearson on that one. Stefano there on the back of Liam Bowman. I've got to be honest, though. I disagree with you. I think Stefano's actually done a better job on those soft compounded tyres. He's within DRS range on the back of Liam Bowman. He's been lifting and coasting coming through the corners there as well. Oh, as he just jumps on my screen down towards 10-14. Doesn't want an internet connection glitch now. The Stefano now runs through the right-hander of turn number 14 and 15 on the run toward the line. Is he going to use up any ERS this time around? No, he's just going to sit and wait in behind. He knows that the rain is coming. These guys know that the rain is coming. Not falling at the minute yet, but Stefano holding onto the tyres. And the biggest indicator about these tyres is a black blister going through the centre of the tyre. Stefano's in trouble here. Might be disconnecting, might be just lagging back there slightly. Yeah. Jumps back in towards turn number 4, right on the back of Liam Bowman once again. Very close to the back of him there. And now he is definitely losing that. Is Tom right on the back of him?
Yeah, I think he's had a little bit of a lag spike. And is he a PS4 player? Is Stefano as well? Remind me if I'm wrong, if he is a PS4 driver, then I have a feeling at the moment he's currently experiencing some internet connectivity issues. And if that is the scenario, that means he's currently on a different part of the circuit versus everyone else that we can see him, which would tell me he's lag spiking. And if that is the scenario, that's the worst case scenario. Because we've got Matteo and Wiener getting into a little bit of a battle, and all of a sudden, I know, Wiener down to 5th place. Remember, on a medium tyre as well alongside him. Aurelian behind by 5 seconds. So no issue for 6th as it stands. But he's struggling out there at the moment, is Wiener. A little bit of an issue as regards of understeer. I'm trying to keep an eye on see if there's...
Right, has that worked? Are we back? Are we back?
Back.
Jota, are you here?
I am here loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Oh, thank God for that. My laptop decided to disconnect itself from the internet, which is why you pretty much didn't miss anything. Nothing really happened in terms of the top 5, so you're very lucky. Liam Bowman leading the way, Stefano second, Tom there in third. It does this from time to time, my laptop, so I apologise. It's happened at the worst time. But luckily, though, rain is not falling still out on track. Liam Bowman leads, Stefano second, Tom in third. But Matteo and Wiener now struggling because they got in that battle. They're now on the back foot compared to the front 3.
This is what it's all going to be about now, of course. And this is where the sort of session is now building a little bit. Stefano keeping within touching distance of Liam Bowman, but he knows he's not going to be faster than him imminently with those soft tyres. But, of course, you know, is it going to be a case of this rain is going to, when it rains, it pours, and that will be the bit when the intermediates now start to become a question. But the question is, are people, you know, with it, how late is it going to get before the rain starts falling? Are we only going to be 2-3 laps, you know, from the end when the rain starts falling? Are people then going to say, you know what, let's stay on the dry tyre, let's just go to the end of the race, try and do a Lando Norris as they can at the Sochi Grand Prix as they did a few years ago? But the question is that going to work unlike it didn't for the McLaren driver at the time? Lou and Tudor getting into a battle, but at the moment Lou staying in 8th. BRT looking very sharp with him.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm just trying to fix something on my end in terms of Discord. My Discord is not reconnecting back up, which is brilliant. So I'm not sure if you're still here with me. Liam Bowman leading the way, Stefano second, Tom there in third. Apologies about the lag. I'm just trying to fix it right now on my end. A good old job of having OBS disconnect on you and everything. But Liam Bowman leading the way, Stefano second, Tom there in third. Hopefully everyone is all good. Hopefully everyone is still sticking with us on lap 23 out of 29 about to begin. As I think
it's all going to be about now. Oh,
go on.
No, sorry, I thought you disconnected them by the looks of things, but no, I think you're all good. Lou is looking fairly sharp to try and get Tudy under a little bit of pressure. Aurelian, by the way, was 5 seconds back on Wiener. Now it's 2.9 as this battle happening for Stefano and Tom. We did think that this had happened at some point. Are the soft tyres now beginning to show a little bit of pressure? And here he goes. He stays in second place. The DRS helping him a treat here. But, of course, while this is all happening, if they continue battling and don't help each other out, Matteo will be very happy to sweep up any positions, but he needs to start managing his ERS because he's down to 6%.
Yeah, definitely. So not sure even what happened there with my end, but hopefully hopefully you can all hear us okay. My Discord did drop, so hopefully that is just reconnecting back up. Tom though on the back of Stefano, Liam Bowman there in the lead of the race right now. The front 3 are beginning to pull away. Everyone else at this stage pretty much out of this, and if it stays as it is in terms of the dryness out on track, everyone in the top 3, I think, are going to remain as they are. Declan Barrett picks up a 3-second penalty further behind on his chase of Igor Jelen and indeed BRT's Jaeger there in 11. Tom there on the back of Stefano as we run on board. Coming out through the right-hander of turn number 12. Stefano definitely looking a bit on the laggy side once again, coming through the right-hander of turn number 13 on the run towards turns 14 and 15. The rain's still not falling out on track. So there goes my prediction. Oh, I've literally just said that, and the rain is now falling. Literally on cue.
Literally on cue indeed. So that is it then. So the question is when are the intermediate tyres going to be the thing? Now this rain that's falling at the moment is not quick enough for any kind of consideration. Stefano has decided it's time to make a jump here. He now goes back in front of Liam Bowman. Tom stays in third, Matteo in fourth. Wiener is in. So is he now switching over to a set of intermediate tyres this early, I wonder? He thinks like Luke and like a bunch of people, we're going to be on inters quickly, but this is a bold call from CPI, who are going to be getting some big points tonight. Oh, they're trying to go for the race win. Oh, we've other people we've got Dirk in as well.
Liam Bowman nearly getting the job done on Stefano and all of that as well. This rain definitely affecting the track surface. I'll turn the timing tower off just so you've got a clear view of the rain. But this rain is absolutely teeming down now out on track. It is really affecting the track surface already. even though the dots really of the rain is not really falling on the track surface. Trust me, in a lap's time, this will be sodden in terms of the wet conditions. Liam Bowman right on the back of Stefano, coming through the left-hander of turn number 10 once again. Tom there in third, doing a good job there in fourth. Matteo already in there in fifth. Here comes Liam Bowman though. Surely you're not around the outside of turn number 11 into the inside line. Now on the outside line, the rain definitely affecting the track surface now. Liam Bowman tries the impossible, gets the traction to the inside line. The medium better than starts and he gets the job done. Liam Bowman, the flying Scotsman through, and he's into the lead of the race. Stefano there in second. Mediums with a quicker tyre just for now. Tom there on the back of him in third. Stefano has been absolutely outdone by a flying Scotsman there.
Into surely now at this point here, the track is starting to really look very greasy out there, and I would suspect now Stefano surely has got to come in to get off of the soft tyres, but Bowman of course is going to take that opportunity. Tom is also in as well. Oh my goodness me, Matteo also in as well. It's getting quite jumpy around here as well, as I'm just keeping a firm eye on what's happening at the moment with the CPI driver of Wiener. Where's he going to be at the end of this?
I don't know where everyone's going to be at the end of this. DRS is now disabled. Everyone's coming in pretty much at the right time. Lou in, Stonks in, Jaeger, Igor Jelen, PSR Smokey in, Cameron Dowds in. Where's Wiener going to come out in all of this? Wiener is going to be in 5th position, very comfortably in 5th, coming out of the pit lane of the guys in front. But Wiener's going to have the fresher tyres. They will take a lap or two to get up to temperature with Matteo, Tom, Stefano, Liam Bowman. Wiener not entirely out of this, but he's got a big mountain to climb. 2.8 seconds, the mountain to climb, indeed. Tom there on the back now. Stefano in towards turn number 4, looking for the inside line. Might actually try and dice this to the inside line again. Yeah. Doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, he's there.
Does he? Inside line? No, not going to work.
Yeah, we're looking for it though, weren't he? He's going to just put Stefano off pressure and a little bit off the key as well. Again, another little lag spike here for the F7R man, the PS4 driver, not finding comfort in his old console at the moment. So Tom, very happy to keep him under as much pressure as he possibly can. And maybe, just maybe, there'll be a crash on the PS4 side, not a crash involving him.
Yeah, definitely so. Tom on the back of Stefano, still fighting for this P2 and P3. Right now, everyone's stringing out once again. There's a good midfield battle going on. Chudy, Lou, Stonks all involved in that. Igor Jelen, Declan Barrett involved in that as well. Declan Barrett, McLaren Shadow Development driver. Dan and P12 got very unlucky in terms of lap 1. Very unlucky in terms of the lap of the race as well. We'll get towards the closing stages of this Grand Prix here in Bahrain. The first Joker round of the season. Can we have more? Is what I'm now going to ask. Liam Bowman leading the way. 1.8 seconds the gap over Stefano in second. Tom there in third. Liam Bowman seems to have it between himself right now. Tom, though, is going to think of other ideas. He's on the back of Stefano in towards turn 1. Bit of a lag spike there from Tom. Now to the inside line of the back of Stefano. The F7R man and Shizu man side by side in towards turn 1. Tom much deeper on the brakes. Gets the job done. Parks it beautifully on the apex. Tom through and he's into second. How do you like them apples, Stefano?
Yeah, really good effort that from Stefano. He's going to keep the pressure on, though, with the DRS, of course, no longer available. So it's all going to be about the raw power of the Mercedes powering in both of each of their cars as he tries to go around chop, maybe something around the inside, losing the rear ever so slightly from Stefano, stays in 3rd place. Aurelian in 6th, by the way, so this is going to be a good points haul for F7R in what they desperately need here. CPI still on for some big points through Wiener, but he is not making as much inroads as he possibly can for a potential podium, which will be disappointing stuff for CPI, but a great 5th place nonetheless from the man that's really showing some effort here, the former OP man for CPI. Of course, his teammate well down the field at the moment as well. So it's all going to be about what Tom and Stefano could do, who's going to finish in 2nd and 3rd, because Liam Bowman is absolutely flying away at the moment for Novus.
Yeah, he is indeed looking to try and follow in the footsteps of Kai Pearson, who of course won last week in Qatar, and now Liam Bowman looking to try and provide Novus Racing right now with a 2nd win of the season. Tom and Stefano 2nd and 3rd. They're going to try their utmost to try and get on the back of the Scotsman, but the Scotsman currently holding sway. Wiener, by the way, apparently people were saying in the chat that Wiener currently has front wing damage, and I think he has got front wing damage on that car. It's right side end plate damage, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely forfeiting a lot of time. Struggling through that final corner now at turn 14 and 15. Wiener's just going to have to hope that Aurelian does not close 5 seconds in the next 3 laps of this race. Otherwise, he will be done for. The CPI man there in 5th. Stefano there on the back of Tom. tries to get the switch back out of turn number 1. The F7R man on the back of the Shazoo man. All of a sudden, 2.6 seconds between them both, and now Stefano on the back of Tom. Inside line in towards turn number 4, pretty much nearly taking the key to Mazepin line in towards turn number 4. Stefano there, Thuni's into second. Tom gets the switch back a century to the inside line. Now on the outside line, brilliant switch back by Tom, utilising that to really good effect. Tom Thuni's into second. Liam Bowman now on course for this race win though.
ET8 are knocking on the door of the podium. Here we are. Now we're within a second of Stefano as well. So keep an eye out on Matteo. Of course, he was in first, second, third for predominantly a lot of this race. And of course, ended up dropping out after the drivers in front made some inroads on the same tyre. But while they're battling in front, he's been harvesting his energy and just keeping within touching distance. And now he's got about 10-15% more energy than Tom and Stefano here. So if he wants to try and put a little bit of a dive potentially on Stefano, he could potentially scrap a third place for ET8, which again is what they desperately need at the moment in their battle with his teammate all the way down in 18th. While this is all happening, by the way, just keeping an eye out on the battle for P11, or P10 rather, Smokey. What happened to him? It's all about that first stint, staying on the wet tyre for so long under the safety car, and he's never been able to claw back those positions as Declan. Disappointing re-debut, if you will, for Smokey. He stays in 11th, but he's battling for 10th.
Good job to the people, by the way. That's saying check his files. It's on console, so there's no files to actually go on with Liam Bowman, but he's 3.1 seconds clear from Tom in second, Stefano and third, Matteo there in fourth. Tootie now bearing down on the back of Dirk. A big battle now developing in the mid-pack between 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th. Declan Barrett could even get involved in this as well. Dirk now under pressure from Tootie. Tootie flies past him down the straight in towards turn 1. Lou's going to do exactly the same thing. Pulls to the left-hand side in towards turn 1. On the right-hand side even in towards turn 1. Tries to get the job done. Absolutely outsells him on the brakes does Dirk. Dirk's on the outside line. Lou on the inside line now for the outside for turn number 2. Gets the traction, gets the run. Lou should get this job done. Dirk there on the outside line will not give up this position lightly. But Lou in the end gets up into P8. Beautiful stuff by the BRT man.
You know, Dirk actually should have had that position defended, but he got on the power too quickly, going through turn 3, and that ended up losing him the rear, and that allowed Lou to just sneak on by, take 8th place, and split the TF10 boys who have been hugging each other basically throughout this entire race. Matteo, by the way, is closer to Stefano than Stefano is to Tom at the moment. This ET8 podium is still a potential factor here, and going on to the 29th lap, guess who's got more energy? It's Matteo, and he's going to be within close proximity. I think this might just be a possibility for a podium for ET8. Let's see what happens though as they start the final lap of this race.
Yeah, there's not much in it though between the ERS. Matteo's got 37% of ERS, using a little bit. I couldn't even get my words out now. Using a little bit of that up in towards the right hander now of turn at number 14 and 15. Stefano's got 27%. Tom's got 27%. So Tom now utilising that to good effect, but Stefano's going to have that toe down in towards turn 1, and this is going to be crucial now in this Grand Prix, potentially for P2 for Stefano. He's on the outside line now in towards someone. I don't think he's got the drag though, and the traction and the speed to actually get the job done on the back of Tom. Matteo might get involved in this as well towards turn number 4. Stefano again on the back of Tom. Tom just has so much more traction coming out of the corner. Stefano immediately in the slipstream comes at him now in towards turn number 4. To the outside line does the McLaren on the back of the Mercedes. Old school fashion Formula 1 racing. They're inside of each other as they go around the outside, and Stefano gets the job done on the back of Tom. There was a bit of a lag spike, I think, in all of that, but Stefano Thuni's into second, and now Tom all of a sudden under pressure from Matteo, and Matteo now is going to be right on the back of the Brit. The Brits and the Italians normally hate each other. Matteo and Tom, hopefully they're going to keep this clean.
Oh, it's going to be really, really close and tight. Here he goes with a dive down the inside line. That's Matteo. I told you he'd go for that move. I told you. ET8 are desperate for that podium to try and hold on. But Tom has got the traction, and away he goes. Stays in 3rd place.
Just about. Tom hanging on for grim life for the Italian now on the back of Matteo. On the back of Tom even. Trying to look for the inside line. Definitely getting more dicey out on track. The Mercedes is going to try and hang on from the Aston Martin through the right-hander of Car Killer Corner at turn number 12. In towards the right-hander now of turn number 13. I don't think Matteo's got enough left in the tank to try and have a run at Tom. The rain is absolutely teeming down on the final lap of the race. But Liam Bowman, well, there's one constant. It's the Scottish and rain. Liam Bowman now through the final corner on the run to the line. The Flying Scotsman wins in Bahrain. Stefano to the line will hang on on for second, as will Tom, who comes across the line for third. Matteo pushed him all the way to the line in the end, but because the rain was falling so heavily, he just couldn't get the job done. Wiener in the end, another 50 yards. I think it would be different between Wiener and Aurelian. Wiener there in fifth, Aurelian there in sixth. 2D toward the line in seventh. There's strife in the background as the Red Bull runs out wide of Dirk. He's now under pressure from Igor Jelen. Igor Jelen to the line takes P10. Cameron Dowds there in P12. Disappointed for him. Further down the field, top 15 rounded out by Enelor Stefano. That, of course, will get rectified. Smokey's DNF there. But Liam Bowman takes the race win. Novus Racing are here. They are here to stay. The Flying Scotsman does it in the rain. And as I said, if there's one constant, it's the Scottish, and it's rain.
Top 5, all different teams as well. Good effort from F7R to have Stefano and Aurelian as the two sort of top-tier teams, if you will, at the top. But it is all going to be about CPI's performance, though, as well. What an effort it is indeed for Igor Jelen in 10th and, of course, Wiener in 5th. That's a massive points haul for the Cedar Phoenix Igniters, a team that you perhaps would consider to be at the bottom of the table, at one point. And now are certainly going to be a midfield contender and ones to watch throughout this season, thanks to this amazing performance from the PlayStation team. Great race.
Matteo gets Driver of the Day awarded by the in-game fans. George Morgan in the chat saying bullseye for Bowman. Did it better than me, that. Definitely so. Liam Bowman out on top. We'll see the podium celebrations very soon. There is the Scottish flag high aloft behind the man who took the race here in Bahrain. Liam Bowman takes the race win. He is a Flying Scotsman at the end of the day. He flew around the track here in Bahrain. All comers, all grounds, all beaten, I think is what one commentator once said in the past. But Liam Bowman takes the race win out on track. A phenomenal race win as well for the Flying Scotsman. He does it again. Second race in a row that Novus Racing have won. They're definitely in title contention now, and definitely looking good in terms of the whole grand scheme of things. Liam Bowman, though, takes the race win. Stefano there in second, 15th on the grid, up to second. It just comes to show how much of a bad race that we had on lap one. Tom there in third, Matteo there in fourth, Wiener there in fifth, hanging on from Aurelian there in sixth, TF10 2D in seventh, Lou there in eighth, and Stonks in P9. And out of the top 9, only one team have actually scored the double amount of points with both their drivers, F7R with Aurelian and Stefano. So we had 7 different teams, or 8 different teams, filling up the first 9 places. Unbelievable. Igor Jelen there ran off the top 10 for CPI. Then Jaeger in 11th, Dirk 12th, Stefano there in 13th, Oxtaze there in 14th, Zozo 15th, Leonardo Tonaletto there in 16th, Rava in 17th, Cameron Dowds and Smokey, of course, will get counted in the results. They'll move up, of course, behind Jaeger and ahead of Dirk, I think. Bell Belby, he gets counted as a DNF, which is fortunate for him because it's better than a DSQ being shown on the screen for him. He got disqualified after 6 illegal overtakes at the end of lap 1.
He's unlucky there, isn't he, to be fair? He was just trying to avoid a bunch of collisions, and I think it's difficult to give up that many positions, and I think he was just willing to take whatever penalty there was and then hopefully get it rescinded. But of course, I don't think he was expecting to be disqualified. So really unfortunate stuff, actually, for them. But fingers crossed, obviously, they can bounce back next week. Because it's just a disappointing set of events, isn't it, for a team to face that kind of challenge. But of course, next week we're going to be heading towards a fantastic race. Of course, not as going to be, I think, as impactful maybe as the rain has suggested, but definitely rain on the cards in Hungary.
Oh, yeah, there will be definite rain, I hope, in Hungary. It's going to be very interesting indeed. We're back to normality, by the way, next week. And for quite a few weeks, I think, as well, because that custom weatherize absolutely threw the cat amongst the pigeons. Hungary there next week, of course, for round number 4. I'm just going to quickly ask if the top 3 are available potentially for some interviews. It might be the case where we don't get any here tonight, but hopefully we can hear Liam Bowman or Stefano or Tom. Either one of them 3 would be really, really good. I'm just going to try and see if they are available. Yeah, Hungary, race 4 of the season, then Azerbaijan, then the break week. Azerbaijan before the break week is going to be interesting because I once tried to go around the outside of the castle section around there. Didn't end up well for me. Luckily, I'm in the commentary box this time around.
We don't talk about that one, do we? To be fair, I think I've had a few incidents up there as well. It's not the nicest set of corners to squeeze through there, of course. So it's going to be an interesting watch later down the line. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing what turn 1 and turn 2 have got, especially in the first few laps. around Hungary though, and then of course we've got that little trip to Brazil laps for round 6, and then it's the season finale from last season, halfway through the season this season in Las Vegas. Of course, that's a sprint race as well, so that's going to be a mighty fun time.
And you can have a look, by the way, in terms of the standings. They are already done. Luke Humphries has really worked absolute overtime, I think, to get this one done. Should have been at the Burton game right now. Burton game got cancelled, unfortunately for him. So he's off doing better things here tonight. And that is, of course, the standings here for WOR Console T1. And I've actually just clicked on the standings there, and I can't access them, which is very, very strange indeed. Coming up with a Google form all of a sudden.
Well, I tell you what. This is an awful way to say this one, James. You weren't meant to know about it until now. No, I'm joking, by the way. No, I can't access it myself. It's very peculiar. I'm trying to get the access to it so we can try and get the numbers in. As soon as we
Oh, there
get
we go.
the standing sorted, yep, there we are. I'm in now as well. I don't know what link I would click in, but that was very odd. But we are now heading
Ooh.
through to what is a very peculiar set of events now, because it looks like we have got a brand new championship leader.
We have a brand new championship leader and a brand new championship second at that as well. And there are only 9 points I can report between the top 4 teams going into next week in Hungary. I'm just going to get this at full belt on my screen, but it is Team Shazoo leading the way on 129 points, 1 point clear of F7R in second on 128. They still have come very close to a race win. Can they rectify that in Hungary next week? Who knows? ET8 in third on 126. Novus Racing fourth and 120, and 2 race wins, of course, their name, definitely helping them. 9 points is all that separates them coming into next week. And then it's a bit of a kind of guess, a Formula 2 right now between the teams and behind. I mean that in the best possible way, because there's easily more times to pick up race wins and podiums and everything. But TTM in 5th on 39 points. There's a gap of 81 points between 4th and 5th in the standings. Just put it like that. CPI in 6th on 34. Outplayed Racing still on 29. They'll remain that way, of course, until the end of the season. Team TF10 on 8th on 26. Bunker Racing Team in 9th on 25. L Plan Racing Team there in 10th on 17. And then NLR in 11th on 3. And that is unfortunate for NLR. I think that might be taken into consideration the DNFs of Declan Barrett and indeed of who was the other one? Cameron Dowds. Might be the DNFs of them both. So just take that with a little bit of caution.
Yeah, certainly on that one. I believe we've actually got interviewers coming in here. It looks like Stefano and Tom both very keen to get going in this one. So
I can't do anything.
We'll try and drag. Well, that's right. We'll try and drag those in here. Well, let's get Stefano and Tom in here now. Here, so Stefano just joining us as well as Tom in this one. So nice to have you on board with this one, James. I'll let you lead away with the first set of questions whilst I just try and take a breather after what was, I think, one of the most intense races I've seen in a very long time.
Definitely one of the most intense races I've ever done around here in Bahrain. Put it that way. We'll speak to the man in P2. First and foremost, F7R Stefano. P15 on the grid. P2 out on track for F7R. You must be counting your lucky stars for what you avoided on that one.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Thank you. Qualifying was unfortunate because of the I just missed out on my run with 1 second because of bit wrong timing and being held in the pit lane. But the race went pretty well. Lap 1 was a big incident. And could have and I jumped like 6 positions because of it. Then further, but was like before the entire race. And the final battle with Tom was, in my opinion, pretty nice, fair. Maybe my connection wasn't too good. Yeah, probably because of or crossplay or because of my connection. But after all, it was a pretty good race.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit worried for you, I'll be honest, in the commentary box, because I was seeing you lagging on my screen. And I was thinking, oh god, his connection's going to give out and he doesn't want to do this. and that doesn't want to do that. Obviously, with you being in P2, obviously you had that battle with Tom, and that battle with Tom was
Yeah.
really fair, as you mentioned. Really, really good racing between you both. Talk us through that because it was a really good battle between you both.
Yeah, it's nice to battle with Tom, but yeah, just managed to get some ERS after he passed me the first time, and that caused me into overtaking him on the second straight because of having more ERS.
Yeah, and obviously having that most amount of ERS, I think it was only about 5% in it in terms of the ERS at the end of the day. And you did a phenomenal job, obviously, to hang on for P2. You'd probably be wishing Tom if he had another lap. I think it might have been a different story. But
Yeah,
congratulations on that P2. Jota, I'm going to come across to you.
thank
Any
you.
questions?
Yeah, no, I've got one question actually surrounding the team in general, to be honest with you, because I think obviously let's be candid, the last couple of races have not really been up to the standards I think F7R have been setting out for. You've managed to get, a good chunk of points on the board tonight, though. Is this now the first sort of steps towards perhaps the F7R that we saw last season, or is there more work to be done behind the scenes?
Yeah, no, we were always on the level, but just in terms of luck or miscommunications or things that get in our way that we couldn't show our level in drivers and results. But I think the upcoming races will be better for us, and I hope we'll get more results like this or even better.
Yeah, no, it's a good result nonetheless, though, to be fair, for tonight. Looking forward towards the later half of this sort of championship now. You've got to look forward towards, potentially more race victories. You've got to look forward to a little bit of consistency that potentially could bring you guys, your next championship. But it is an almighty war at the moment. 9 points separating, top from fourth. What have you guys got to do you reckon, in order to try and beat the competition and be the number one team again?
I think just being consistent every single race, and getting the results, even if it's not a 1-2 every race, but just get as high amount of points as possible, and just have a bit luck on our side as well, because that's important. After you saw what happened with Aurelian in lap one, because he got spun out because of the big incident. And those little things can maybe lose you out at the title in the championship. These things we're having to get in a couple of next races.
Yeah, thank you for your time on that one, James.
Yeah, that's all from me as well. Let's Stefano, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you guys as well. See ya.
Thank you very much, and we can now move on to the man. It's been a while, I think, since I've had an interview with him. To be honest, I'm looking forward to this, Mr. Tom Roberts. P3 out on track. Luck finally on your side here in Bahrain. Talk us through it.
Yeah, good evening. I've definitely had both ends of the straw tonight because lap one I went from P7 to last, and then the safety car same sort of crash happened turn one, but I gained 6 positions from it that time, so that was pretty much it. And I was using 50-50 wings. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to do a wet Bahrain race again, so I don't care about saying that. And so it was like, I don't know, it was so nice to drive, and so I was just pushing the max out of the car because it was so stable. But I think at the end, Stefano had, I don't know what wings he was on, but he felt fast on the straight, and then he mugged me off around the outside last lap, so fair play.
But which was a brilliant move, not on your side, obviously, but it was a brilliant move from Stefano to get that job done. It was a really fair, respectful battle between you both as well, and I think that comes to show how you've been in terms of your driving recently as well. You've been obviously trying to do half and half, I think, in terms of PC and console. So obviously, using that skill set that you've built on PC recently, how did that affect coming into tonight in terms of Bahrain? Was it just go in there, hope for the best?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, driving on PC it's not like made me like it's making me worse maybe on PlayStation because it's a bit different. But I'd say just 'cause I'm playing the game more, even it being on PC, I'm getting a bit better. So that'll probably help me. And in terms of actual driving, I've not done that many PC races, so I haven't really learned nothing there. But I've definitely tried to be as clean as possible recently because I had a bit of a phase in this early start of this game. I was just having crashes all the time, and I still am, but I'd rather put it down to bad luck than me being dirty. So I'm trying to keep it clean, and that was a really fun battle at the end because Stefano kept it clean as well. So it's nice.
It's always good when you can have a really respectful battle, I think, with opponents out on track, with good friends, I'm sure, out on track as well. You definitely proved that with Stefano here tonight. Going into the rest of the season, of course, now we know with the provisional standings, Team Jazoo lead by 1 point going into next week provisionally over F7R. What is the team goal now for Team Jazoo as an entity? 9 points separated by the top four as well. Team Jazoo out on top. Is the pressure there going into Hungary?
I'd say we're not putting any pressure on ourselves. Like inside the team, maybe as a driver, you'll feel pressure because we're in the title fight. But like we're just having fun, getting good results because previous experience, Team Shazoo has had some pretty horrid luck in a lot of races. So as everyone always says, it's consistency across the season that's gonna keep us fighting for the title, not just the odd podium or a 1-2 in the last race, or whatever it was, 1-3.
Yeah, it
So
seems.
yeah, we're just trying to get. We're not going to send it all out for wins. We're just going to try and get both cars as high up as possible every week, and that's all we can do really.
Yeah, it seems to be, I think, an order of the day where consistency is really key this season, and I think Team Chazoo have done phenomenally well this season. Obviously, leading going into the championship next week. Jota, across to you. Haven't forgot about you. Any questions?
No, I've got a couple of questions actually about Shazoo now because I think out of the top three teams, you guys have probably been the most consistent out of the big three, if you will, from last season. Of course, Outplayed have now stepped away. F7R have only just really been able to get their mojo together in this race, which has obviously been tumultuous at best. For yourselves, you guys obviously are going to be trying to push in for the title, but I think one question I've got is when it comes to the competition out there this year, which is quite clearly closed up a little bit, what is going to separate you guys from the rest of the field in order to win it?
Well, definitely, I believe in like all the drivers in our roster, and our roster is definitely stronger than it's been in the past, and um like all five of our drivers in the current roster can definitely put in a good performance, and we haven't had that much confidence since in other seasons of World, I'd say. So, I know other teams have got the same sort of thing. They probably say that about themselves, but yeah.
And I think one thing that I'm actually kind of interested to know about as well is what changes have Team Shazoo done between last season and this season, because there is a slight differentiation, I think, between what you guys performed, how you performed last season versus this season. It feels very 2021-y, if you will, F1 2021-y, where beforehand Red Bull would always be that team nearly approaching the front, but never quite getting there. Shazoo was a bit like that, and then 2021 came about, quote unquote. You guys ended up managing to establish yourselves pretty aggressively last season, just missing out on a chance at really fighting for that title. So what have you guys got to what have you been working on, I think, is the question here, throughout the season to get to where you are now, because you feel like a different team.
I don't know. There's not much we've done in terms of like, I don't know, focusing on World, but I say we're like we weren't doing much wrong previously. It's just maybe our drivers have improved, or we're selecting like the lineups earlier. So the drivers we like start practicing earlier, or practice more in general, because maybe we weren't practicing enough last season. And with it becoming further into the game, you just naturally have more hours in the game, and other people who put extreme amounts of practicing early on in the game sort of don't have that advantage anymore. But yeah, I wouldn't say that much has changed this zoo, but we've improved definitely.
Well, thank you very much for that one. And James, back to you.
Nothing else from me in terms of questions. Tom Roberts, go and enjoy your evening.
Cheers.
And that rounds off our interviews for tonight. And a big thank you, of course, to Stefano and to Tom for joining us in the interviews room after their race. Getting a little bit of feedback as well from Zozo, just chatting to him in private messages, saying really unlucky, got illegal overtakes from the game, which resulted in a penalty and then got damaged. Pace was there, though, and he's saying thank you for the message as well. You are very welcome, Zozo, anytime, any place. And that, I think, is going to round us off very neatly indeed. But we can look forward to, of course, what is to come up. Of course, unlike the football, which has got an extra half an hour, Plymouth against Leeds, I think it is right now. Hungary, though, round 4 of the championship, and then Azerbaijan the week after. Hungary, though, more immediately, going to be really, really strong, I think, in terms of the racing out on track. Hopefully one of those races where it might be a little bit unpredictable, but hopefully we get a good result out of it.
Certainly is. I'm going to be in for an absolute blinder nonetheless out here as well. Looking forward to seeing what we've got coming up throughout the week as well. I mean, I'm going to be having a very quick conversation with ET8 actually later this week. So fingers crossed we will have another little interview snippet from the team actually coming off of the back of this race tonight, where it's a little bit up and down for both teams, for both drivers rather. That'd be interesting to get a little bit more insight from them as well. So we're going to be in for an absolute blinder throughout the week before we go to Hungary.
We definitely will be indeed, and also as well, I can report that you're going to be seeing a much more neater version of me next week as well. I will lead you to guess as what that might be. But we have also got Console Tier 1 coming up this weekend, this Friday, in fact, as well. Chinese Grand Prix, 9th of February, title decider. It's a 4-way championship fight, I believe, as well. And Chinese Grand Prix, always going to be interested in terms of a season finale. Console T1 is the place to be, 8 PM UK time. Unless I'm needed, I won't be there. It is Mr. Gareth Davies and Joel taking the action, of course, for Console T1. So if you do want to tune in for that final race of the season, Kai Pearson gets another look in on the stream, by the way, as well, in terms of the graphic. But what we're going to do is we're going to end off here as well. Big thank you to Mr. Jota for joining me in the commentary box. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. We'll give you all the updates from the Stewards Room in terms of next week in Hungary. But a big thank you from us, and a big thank you to our sponsors, Next Level Racing and Gridfinder, who you'll be hearing from very soon indeed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.